What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Run Your Mouth podcast. I'm excited to be back in studio. Harrington, you excited for the fall? What should we call it?
I don't know. The fall.
Maybe we could have brainstormed this beforehand.
Yeah. Why? Are
Maybe
you
I should
starting
have just
on this?
thrown it. Maybe I just shouldn't have lobbed it right to you.
Yeah. I mean, you usually do like a long intro by yourself. You get everybody all fired up.
No, I got all sorts of fire coming their way. They don't call me Robbie the Fire for nothing, but I am thinking we got to call the fall something.
Well,
The fall freedom fall.
I mean, there was no alliteration in summer porch tour.
That's true. All right. Well, you know what? We'll
fall
figure out a new way.
fireside chats.
Wait, what was that?
Fall fireside chats.
But there's no fire here.
Yeah, but I mean, we can just have the fans invite us to bonfires.
Not the worst idea.
I've had worse, trust me.
Anyways, we're coming back from an epically successful summer porch tour. I mean, we had thousands of entries. Few won. Few were graced by us on their porches, and it was a good time. And now I'm excited to get back into studio. What's fun about the studio is we get chaotic. We get to have multiple segments. And on that note, I believe YOSEF will be making an in-person appearance later in the episode, bringing meatloaf sandwiches. So what could be better than that?
I don't know, telling me 10 minutes before so I didn't get dinner already?
What do you eat for dinner?
I went to Key Food. I got fucking little roast beef, mashed potato action. It was pretty good.
You're using your library voice. Is that so that we don't disturb the other show?
I got a live mic, and Alex is being considerate, so I'm trying to return the favor.
You'll be considerate back.
Yeah, it's a weird thing.
Maybe I'll use...
Like mutual respect.
I'll use my library NPR voice, too.
I don't know, Brian's whispering, too. It's really throwing me off.
We can all whisper together.
You want to come whisper to Robbie, Brian?
Yeah, what's Brian whispering about? Does Brian wants me to have sex with him?
I think he wants you to fight you, but I think that's also how he flirts.
Oh, I heard fuck me. I didn't even hear fight me. I interpreted pure flirtiness right to he just wanted to fight me.
I think that's why he gets laid so much.
Maybe, Brian, do you want to come in here? Do we have beef to squash? I didn't even realize we had beef to squash. Send him in here.
He wants to know if you want to go in there and squash the beef.
I didn't realize. Did we have beef to squash that you want to fight me?
I feel like we're good.
Oh, okay.
We're fine.
Well, this is what's fun about being back in studio, is we can get as weird as we want right off the bat. Harrington.
What's up, buddy?
Do you have anything to report from your summer? Do you feel like it was successful? Like you got out, you enjoyed yourself at all? Did you do anything summery?
I certainly got out.
Oh, yeah, all out. In other words, did you have any opportunities to be indoors, maybe?
Once or twice. There was a shed involved at one point. That was pretty fun.
Have you squirreled away nuts for the winter? Have you started to make preparations?
Not yet, dude. I think I'm just gonna die alone on the streets in the winter in New York, like any good person.
It could happen. You know what? Let's re-intro. I'll get right into the topics. I'll get everyone fired up. The other thing is we were going to do a review of. I came across a new Reese's Take 5 candy bar, and I'm going to say epic flop. So bad, Harrington, he could just tell visually. He took one look in and said, that's not for me. And here's how bad the Reese's Take 5 is. It tastes like when you get your tooth drilled and those little pieces of your tooth end up on your tongue. That's how bad this thing tastes.
Why would you offer one to me?
Well, because I figured...
Knowing that, why would you think I want my friend to have this?
I thought we'd eat it at the same time, and we would both do a review, but then I got impatient, and I just opened up mine and ate it, and then I was wondering, who knows, sometimes different taste buds, you might have thought it was excellent.
It's fair. It's fair.
And then you wouldn't have eaten the second one, because you would have been like, I don't deserve it.
I'm actually gonna, if you want to get, next time you get into like a long, boring thing about politics, I'm gonna go because I'm not gonna eat in the production booth. I'm gonna go take this out into the kitchen and get into it. And
actually, no politics this episode, which is why I'm actually gonna recommend to our fans that they skip this episode straight up. Hang out with us. It's our first time back in studio. We've already made it weird, and I got a terrible topic this week, so straight up skip this episode. And here's why I think the fans should skip this episode. I've said this before. It's one of my favorite pearls of wisdom from Robert Greene's book. And Harrington, you need pearls of wisdom, so I'm going to tell you this. All right, you listening?
I'll take any pearls.
Are you engaged?
Always.
Okay, fine. So, if, for example, you are miserly by nature, you will never go beyond a certain limit. Only generous souls attain greatness. Associate with the greatness, then they will infect you in opening up everything that is tight and restricted in you. If you are gloomy, gravitate to the cheerful. If you are prone to isolation, force yourself to befriend the gregarious. Never associate with those who share your defects. They will reinforce everything that holds you back. Only create associations with positive affinities. Make this a rule of life, and you will benefit more than from all the therapy in the world. Tell me that didn't make you feel a little bit inspired.
It's just telling me I should stop hanging out with you.
Well, basically, and the other homeless people. That's what's keeping you back. But I know that this is 100% true. Where I notice this more than anything, that hanging out with people that are different from you can really open you up to how to be successful. Is the first time I worked in a sales office, people knew how to close, and I was not a closer. But you just kind of learn how to copy other people and what they're doing that's working, and then it just starts working for you, and then you kind of start being a more successful human being. I also noticed that I don't really pick up women much, but in my earlier comedy days, I used to hang out with comics who were really good at it. You kind of just picked up their tricks. You did it because you just saw, hey, that works. Like, I would never have thought, hey, this works, but you saw someone do it. You just copied them. It's not like being on stage where anyone gets to call you out for being unoriginal, and you got laid. And I've also noticed with it, like with the friends I, hang out with, which is at other times in my life when I've hung out with people who are fucking workaholics and they're going to the gym, you just kind of get sucked into their energy, and you end up, completing and doing more. Whereas when me and Harrington get together, that you don't get that result.
Just a bunch of Take 5 bars.
Just a bunch of Take 5 bars, people doing candy bars review. And then I saw, on the same note, I also saw Buffett. They always like to quote Buffett because he's made all this money. And he was saying his biggest advice in life was you want to associate with people who are kind of person you like to be, you want to be because you're going to move in that direction. So we can say with absolute certainty that one of the things that will help you be successful in life is hanging out with other successful people, hanging out with happy, well-balanced people. If you're around the rich, the happy, the successful, those who have a positive mental attitude, you will begin to absorb those qualities in them, and you too can live a better life. Which is why I'm recommending skipping tonight's episode. The topic that I wanted to get into is depression. And so I'm thinking one of two things here. Either you and I are the least successful people that anyone could possibly be listening to, so to be listening to us on advice on anything, especially in the self-help category, you're making a huge mistake, or who's dealt with more depression than you and I, so we're the fucking experts here. What do you say, Mr. Harrington?
Well, it's tough because we're essentially saying, don't hang out with depressed people if you don't want to be depressed.
Right.
And I've done nothing but be depressed this episode so far.
No, but part of it, and that's going to get what we're into, is, you can work your way out of it. It's like motion creates emotion sales thing. I blame Alex and the fact that you're stuck in a room right now where you have to use your library voice, so you can't, you know what I mean? Like, library voice is going to make anyone sleepy and depressed.
No.
You're like a caged animal right now.
Sure. That's it. 100%.
If we put you in a natural environment where you could speak your mind, just cut loose, I think we get an energetic and enthused Harrington.
You're goddamn right you do, Robbie Bernstein. Now that I'm in here in this room with you and I'm talking with a goddamn library voice, I am fired up.
There you go.
Hell yeah, great episode. I'm going to go back out there.
Oh, okay. I was like an uncaged Harrington. I was going to let you go with that. You were selling me, buddy. All right, so honestly, I want to. I sent out a tweet earlier in the week, and the tweet was there was this article in the Wall Street Journal about using antidepressants for long periods of time. Harrington, have they ever medicated you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What are some of the things they've slapped you on over the years?
Zoloft.
Okay.
I think that's the only one I've actually taken for depression. Taking a bunch of Adderall, Concerta, like the gamut with ADD medication. But yeah, as far as depression goes, I think just Zoloft when I was a kid.
How old?
Middle school, like 12, 13, something like that.
Okay, and I think Zoloft's like one of the beta blockers, right?
Dude.
I know it's the commercial with the big happy purple smiley face that was bouncing around.
Yeah, but he started as like a sad,
he was real
white
sad.
cloud.
But then he took that Zoloft and he was like one of those old bouncy tunes, but as a purple ball instead of a red ball.
Oh, I don't remember that. I just remember it being the same white thing the whole time through.
Oh yeah, it was the black and white one.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah, you might be right. You might be right about the Zoloft commercial. How many years were you on Zoloft for?
I think like a year and a half. Then I was like, this sucks.
Why? Okay, and what was it about the Zoloft? You're like, this sucks.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, for me, just remembering to take a pill in the morning is tough.
That was too much.
Dude, and like...
That might have been the one good thing about it was that it established a routine and made you do something responsible. But...
Yeah, but I think the flip side of that is like for the days where I did forget it, it was like that much more. It's like you can't even fucking get your fucking depression medication right, you fucking idiot.
Oh, and it would just spiral out of control right from the outset. You would just be on the school bus. What grade is this?
Like 6th, 7th grade.
You'd be like, I don't even deserve the pudding my mom gave me. Here, Steve, you take my pudding. I don't deserve it. I forgot to take my medication, and now I feel extra bad.
If my mom was packing me puddings, I don't think I would have been depressed.
You would have been happy all along.
Hell yeah,
My
dude.
mom, I think this is the sign of you're just going to have a problem in life. Like, you can tell really early on if your kid has this character trait. My mom was like a healthy person, or she tried to be healthy, and like the snacks were never a thing. But I used to work that lunchroom to get other kids snacks. Like I would, I became friends with the kids whose moms were just packing the good stuff. Because other kids had plenty of good snacks, but not only did they have plenty of good snacks, they would send it back. Like, I couldn't believe that there were some kids that got sent so much snacks in their thing, and that, like, not eating it all at lunch was an option. Like, they would actually come home with it, and then, just have different snacks in there the next day.
That's wild.
That is wild. I think, to me, that's like, before you like, when you were a kid, sugar was that was like, before you knew of alcohol or pot, that was just the thing. If you get your hands on it.
That's still that way for me, dude.
Well, but now it's I guess
readily available.
Yeah, it's just readily available, so you don't have to kind of sneak around in the same way. Like one of the moves I used to pull was my grandma lived up by like where we went to school, and my sister used to sleep over there once a week. And when we used to pick her up in the morning, because my grandma always had like good, I used to ransack her kitchen before I went to school. I mean, I ransacked that thing, filled up my pockets, and then got right in there at like 9 a.m, just eating Reese's bars and like Twinkies, just all the good stuff.
You're the only person I've ever met who calls it a Reese's bar. Reese's or cups, doggy.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I think
I'll take that critique and let it be known on the show that when I'm definitively wrong, I'll admit it. But when it comes to things like potato buns that are now just called hamburger buns that require some research, I'll say that it requires some research. But I'm not above admitting defeat. I'll do it. I'm not that kind of a guy. I will readily admit when I need improvement, and when I'm wrong, I'll say it straight up. No problems, no ifs, no qualms. Harrington, did I readily admit that I was wrong there?
Yes, sir.
There you go. Thank you. Okay. So anyways,
Now I'm sorry. I'm just picturing you like running around like a young Gordon Gekko around the lunchroom. Like I got 6 Twizzlers. Who wants to give me 2 Twinkies? 2 Twinkies, 6 Twizzlers. I got 3 Twinkies, 3 Twinkies for these 6 Twizzlers.
I never ran a marketplace like that. I think I just sat down next to kids and was really annoying. Like, wait, so you're not gonna eat that pudding? You're just gonna put that back? Your mom doesn't want that back. It doesn't need to be refrigerated. You can't just keep that in your lunchbox all day. Let me help you out, buddy. What other snacks were you going to bring back home? Your mom buys those and packs them. She doesn't want them coming back.
Just being nebbishy about how you scam people out of snacks.
I think my mom finally at one point started packing snacks because she got a call from another mom saying that I was bothering their kid at lunch too much. I was bullying their kid into giving up their snacks, and she's like, all right, I'll start packing you some snacks. But yeah.
That's the way to do it, dude.
That's how you end up becoming a fat fuck, and then you move over to drugs, and, it's just, that's who you are. You were always that way. Anyways, so I'm reading this article about the long-term health effects about taking Zoloft and how it's really, really messing people up. Harrington, can I read a little bit of the article about how much taking this shit for long time is going to fuck you up?
Please.
All right, this from the Wall Street Journal. Some recent studies have suggested serious potential risks. People who used antidepressants had a 14 higher risk of heart attacks and strokes and a 33% greater risk of death. The most popular antidepressants, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, I don't know if I pronounced that right, a lot of words, or SSRIs. That's way easier. I should have just gone for that first. Affect the action of the neurotransmitter serotonin not only in the brain but throughout the body. And because serotonin is involved in the critical process like growth, digestive, and immune function, disrupting serotonin levels could have widespread negative health effects. And then it goes on to say how it's fucking up people that were older. They haven't really studied how long people have been taking this for. Here's some more fun facts. I'll go Bernie Sanders with this because it's percentages. In 73% of healthcare visits where antidepressants were prescribed in medical patients, no psychiatric diagnosis was reported, up from 60%. You see, you just throw out the percentages in his voice. It sounds like you know what you're talking about.
I love hearing percentages.
13% of Americans aged 12 and over, when they took the medications, other things happened, and 7.17% in 1999, according to a 2012 survey. All right. Anyways, so they haven't studied the long-term health effects, and like the doctors love putting you on this shit and shitting on alcohol. So I just basically tweeted out a joke of like, yeah, you read about this, you're like, why don't you guys just drink? That's been working for people forever. You're depressed? Like, Well, why take this shit? Just drink. It's probably the better of the two things. And then the joke that I stated was, they said the same thing about Adderall for me. They recommended that to me at some point in my life. No studies of long-term health effects. And to me, taking Adderall, because it's going to help you study or focus, is like in the 40s. If a doctor said, hey, you can't, have you tried cigarettes? That'll get you through your workday. You stressed at work? Try what was like a big cigarette brand in the 40s?
Lucky Strikes?
Try a Lucky Strikes. They would have put like Yogi Bear on it. Hey, you stressed at work? All right, so I threw that out into the world. I got all of 8 responses, and I was like, okay, this is enough for us to do an entire episode on. So, as I said earlier... Not enough?
I got, just you keep going.
Not enough, Harrington?
You're doing great.
I mean, 8 full responses. So, listen, I told you guys to skip the episode. If you're here, it's your own fault. I said it's flayed out at the beginning. Skip this one. It's about depression. Depression's depressing. I also think it's kind of lame to talk about because I think a lot of comedians or people in the arts like to talk about depression and anxiety. And I think when you talk about it, it makes it more real. That's kind of my take with this stuff a little bit. I feel like you got a thought on that.
No, not at all. I'm just trying to listen to you while Nate is doing his thing.
Oh, okay, this time conflict's just not great.
It's not awesome. I don't know why you wanted to do it at this time.
You know why? Because I'm like way done with work, like way earlier than this, and the downtime between being done with work and getting the show started was kind of bugging me out a little bit. And then I found sometimes when we started, I was getting a little bit sleepy. Because of the stress of the downtime.
Yeah, but then you drink a Red Bull and you get loopy and we talk about sandwiches for an hour.
But then we've also had times where we start coming down to the wire where I would have done a third hour. I would have gone for 4. I'm in the zone, but then we gotta get out of here because it's lights off.
Well, we still have YOSEF coming behind us, so who knows? This could get wild.
And I also feel like we build as we go. We start off all complaining. We try talking about candy bars, and then by the end of it gets fucking weird.
Yeah, sure. This is going to be fun, dude. It's great. Don't worry about it at all. Yeah, what were you saying about... I'm trying to process this about Adderall now?
No, we were past the Adderall, but I don't remember what I was talking about. We were trying to tell people why they should skip this episode. And
no. They should skip Zoloft.
Well, no, they should take Zoloft.
They should?
No, don't take Zoloft. That's crazy. Why would you take Zoloft?
I don't know.
Weren't you the one that said it made you extra depressed?
It sucked.
I don't have any experience with that. No, I was trying to say that a lot of artists, not that I'm one of them, but a lot of people in the comedies, and a lot of people who are actors, or a lot of people who like to paint. They like to, I feel like, complain about their depression and talk about their anxiety. And I feel like 1, it's kind of lame, and 2, I feel like it kind of gives it power. I feel like people make it more of their personality when they like to talk about it, or if they like to. It's like the same way, people find humor in like being a fat fuck, or I do it with drinking. I got a lot of jokes about drinking, and then you almost get afraid like, oh shit, I can't stop drinking because all these jokes aren't going to be true, which is stupid. You'll write other jokes. It's not what makes you funny. It's not the only topic you can talk about. It's just you're making fun of what's a part of your life, and that's how you spend most of your time. So that's all you have to comment on. But the point being, I think when you talk about these things, you make it a part of yourself and you give it more power than it has to. So I prefer to take the ignore it approach, pretend like it's not even a thing and don't even address it, which is why I don't usually bring up this topic all that much.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to die quietly in a bathtub.
Exactly, but you're not going to be a burden to people about it.
Try not to be.
You're not going to walk around and say, "Hey, I can't help myself and pull myself out of homelessness. I can't keep it." You're not going to be that person. No, you wouldn't do that to your friends.
Just very silently suffer. It's great.
So, I do have some tips for dealing with the darks. That I want to lay on some people. But before we do that, I just want to make it clear that obviously, I don't think I have all the wisdoms in the world. And if you're feeling shitty, don't take this as brilliance or, I don't know. If you're actually seeing a doctor and they're telling you to take medication, take your fucking medication. I don't know what to tell you. I wouldn't go with my word over theirs, and I wouldn't not see a shrink. And I've had some success seeing shrinks. Harrington, have you had any good experiences seeing a shrink?
No.
Well,
I did it for a long, long, long time, and I just never felt like I got anything out of it, really.
Yeah, well, here's my experiences with them. Firstly is it's nice to have someone that you can complain to. Like, you can really exhaust your friends complaining, or it's like it's lame to complain. You don't want to, but like when you're paying someone just to show up, that's your moment. You can complain all you want. And then usually my attitude, if people are complaining to me, it's like, hey man, that kind of sounds like a you problem. But when you're talking to your shrink, it's kind of their problem too, because they're literally paying you on the basis that they might be able to work through it. So I think just being able to show up to somewhere and get all your complaining out of the way so that when you're out with your friends, you're not a big fuck face. Like if something's really on your mind, it tends to just kind of ooze out. And so if you're fucking stressed out about shit and then you go out with your friends and you just whine away, I feel like a shrink is worthwhile just in that regard. Or if you're exhausting your wife, your spouse, or whoever the hell it is in your life that you complain to, I think there's some value in just seeing a shrink, and you pay them, you get all your complaints out, and then you're like, all right, I got that out of the way. I don't have to burden my friends with this bullshit.
Can't argue with that at all.
Yeah. So here's my experiences with shrinks. First time I saw a shrink, I got in a lot of trouble in high school for excessive partying in the dorm. I went to a very religious school, and I spent most of the day smoking weed in my dorm room, and I drank a lot of alcohol. And at some point, they're like, "Yeah, we're a religious institution. We can't just have kids sitting in their rooms all day, smoking weed, reading the New York Post, and listening to Q104.3." So they threw me out of there. Was I bothering anyone, Harrington?
Maybe.
No, I wasn't bothering anyone. I was
Maybe if
sitting
you're
in a room.
smoking pot, and it just makes the whole dorm room.
No, I didn't.
Like the whole floor smell like that.
Excuse me. I had an unbelievable. This was engineering at its best. If anything, they should have walked into my room and said, "We should study your ways because clearly you are a problem solver and you're destined for great things." Can I tell you my system for dealing with the weed scent?
Please.
So first
you tried to get into this on the smoke out bug out, but you were way too stoned to explain the story at the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was pretty fun.
So first thing I did was I had a box fan in the window with it faced with the fan blowing out so that you're blowing all smoke out the window. Okay?
Good start.
So that's start number one. Start number two is a second fan, which was one of those really high-end. I stole it from my roommate because he had really wealthy parents, but it was a high-end like vortex fan. It was one of the ones that came on like one leg that loops around, comes up, big black body, vortex fan, high-powered. Okay?
Yeah, probably a Vornado brand?
Yes, Vornado. So you'd put both on high. Then what we would do is we'd sit around, and when you blew out, you would blow out into the back of the Vornado fan, which would blow it right to the box fan and suck it right out the window. So it was a double fan suction exhaust right out the window.
Solid.
That was one. Two is we would put things underneath the door so that like anything going on in the room couldn't really be smelled on the outside. Three is I always cooked popcorn in the microwave, and that was basically it.
It's a lot of popcorn.
Oh, yeah, but it's perfect because then munchies you're high and you got munchies ready to go.
Can't argue with this system.
I haven't eaten microwave popcorn in, I can't remember the last time I ate microwave popcorn, but I used to love that Act 2 butter. I used to have my mom buy it from Costco. Be like, "Hey, Mom, it's a healthy snack. Can we get some of the Act 2 butters from Costco?" I had cases of that. You know which one I'm talking about?
Of course, dude. The big blue box with the white lettering on it.
Yes. Classic. And then I would dump Tabasco on there. Oh, my God. Tabasco right on popcorn. Delicious.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Have you never done that?
I don't fuck with Tabasco. I don't like it.
You don't like Tabasco? It's a little vinegary for people. It's not, it's like my staple hot sauce, but I'll admit it's not world class. I understand why people don't like it. Is that your complaint with Tabasco, that it's a little vinegary?
No, I mean, it's really more that it's just pepper.
What do you mean? Oh, to you, it doesn't have a flavor outside of pepper?
Yeah, it's just hot for the sake of hot. And it's
I don't agree with that at all, because I actually don't even think it's that spicy. Whereas I have experienced things that you're talking about where it's just almost too hot to taste flavor. No, I like Tabasco a lot. Tabasco is my staple. The one that I think is really bad is just straight, like your traditional Red Hot is more of like a salty kind of thing. I don't like Red Hot, except the Red Hot buffalo sauce, which is more recent and is not that spicy, is just straight up delicious.
Okay.
You don't have much on this.
No, I mean, I have, no, not really.
You're not a big hot sauce guy.
I mean, come on, dude. Like, Cholula is my shit. I love Cholula. Loaf's a lot. I mean, you know, it is what it is. Like, I'm not one of those like crazy, ooh, can I take 1,000 Scoville unit, whatever thing. It's like, shut up. You know, it's fucking pick one you like and move on. Frank's is fine. Don't get creative.
But I just said Frank's is terrible.
Yeah, but you're dumb. Like
How?
You find problems with everything that people like. No.
Excuse me.
No. You are a contrarian at heart.
No, okay. I probably am a little bit of a contrarian at heart. Once again, I'm willing to admit fault. Like I said, immediately. I don't need to just be argumentative for the sake of being argumentative, or insisting on being right when I'm not. But in this case, Frank's Red Hot, you gave up too early. You showed up and you said, hey, that's the first hot sauce that exists. I want to be a hot sauce guy. You went with the worst hot sauce that was out there, and you just said, I'm going to make this my thing. And with no desire, a shelf not just of different brands, but of multiple different flavors, concoctions. And at no point in time did you say, let me experiment with what else is out there. Let me mix it up. Let me maybe try the green Tabasco. Maybe next week, like I understand getting a Frank's Red Hot, throwing that in your fridge, and then every once in a while going, but let me try something else. But just to try Frank's and go, this is what hot sauce is all about. No reason for further exploration. Seems like, I don't know. It seems like a man that's not going to experience a whole lot in life.
No, I mean, here's my thing, dude. Cholula, Tapatio, Frank, like those
Okay, so then Frank's isn't your jam. You're widening your palate right there. You're saying, I like a diverse range of hot sauce on different occasions. I'm not committed to Frank's.
What I'm saying is I'll take what they have unless all they have is Tabasco, right?
Okay.
Like, I'm not a connoisseur to the point where I'm like, ooh, I need to try this like hickory smoked ghost pepper with mango habanero infusion. It's like,
sounds like too much.
Shut up. You know, like whatever, dude. You ordered hot sauce. You knew what you were getting.
Yeah. What were we talking about? I don't know how we went somehow from the depression
Tabasco
thing.
on your popcorn in college.
Oh yeah. No, it was high school. That was high school, dude.
Yeah, but you were in the dorms. You know what I mean? I dorm for high school too. I just,
I think it was called rehab, but I'm not sure.
Rehab high school, doggy. Check it out on the Shedcast.
That actually sounds like that'd be a great like worst television show ever.
I mean, if you don't think I've written that pilot, you're crazy.
Can we read that pilot sometime?
Maybe.
Where does it exist?
It's like an old laptop. I gotta find it.
Too many shows have done the Ari Shaffir. I never heard that episode, but I heard it was hilarious.
It's great.
Yeah.
I did a voice. Did you do a voice?
What do you mean?
On the shoot, he came here because he lost the last 10 minutes of the recording. So he came here one day with a Zoom and just had like different people in the office read a line or two.
Because people who made it they needed the ending.
Oh,
he wasn't going to leave that unturned.
You can't.
Yeah, and he had moved to Hollywood just to produce that pilot, right?
If that's true, then my God.
I think so.
No. I think the story was, if I'm not mistaken, it was like he had a meeting and he had to submit something. So he dug up an old script he had from college and submitted that.
Oh, just for kicks.
And not for kicks, because he thought it was like legitimately brilliant.
And then he realized it was terrible?
Yeah.
Can I tell do you know Reggie Conquest at all?
A little bit.
Reggie's such a funny dude. I mean, funny comic, funny dude. But this is one of my favorite. I don't know if I can. Whatever. This is one of my favorite stories in all of comedy. Is Judd Apatow? I think a couple summers ago was at the Cellar a lot, working on a set or something, right? And Judd Apatow. I mean, aside from the movies he's directed, he's probably the biggest comedy producer out there. There's maybe one or two other. There's the guy from Lorne Michaels. And maybe Adam McKay, and maybe one other name in whoever's produced Adam Sandler's movies.
No, I mean Adam McKay's definitely below Apatow. Apatow gave McKay a start.
I'm just saying if you're naming the biggest Hollywood producers, because you don't really think you kind of think of him as a schlubby Jew guy, but behind the scenes he produced Girls, he produced Amy Schumer's movie, he's produced Trainwreck, he's produced like major shit.
Yeah, how do you consider him schlubby? He's got a
well, he looks schlubby, and for his comedy he likes to pretend like, oh, I'm a weak man and my wife and I don't know how to deal with my daughters and everyone's taking advantage of me and I don't know how to handle my emotions. And
he made his wife and daughter Hollywood stars. He has like 9 different movies that are all like that finished in like the top 5 grossing for that. It gets insane. He makes so much money.
But if you ever pass him in the street, you're like, that's a schlubby Jew.
Man, fuck that dork.
Yeah, exactly. And a whiny schlubby Jew. But anyways, he's the big. Who are the other, like, would you say the largest comedy producer, specifically comedy? Is he number one?
He's definitely number one.
No,
In
Lorne
comedy?
Michaels would have to be number one.
Not
Because
really,
Lorne
dude.
Michaels still produces movies. He
What
produces
movies? He makes
What's
the
the
SNL
last?
movies, Night at the Roxbury, and like, you know, like a few of them were big
Okay.
coneheads, I guess. But like, come on, dude. His last movie, I think, was the Will Sasso. He
I
might
actually
have
like
had
that movie a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it was great, but it didn't do business.
No,
MacGruber.
no.
I think he might have had a hand in Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stoppin'. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, it's not. I don't know. Like, yes, the Lorne machine is a machine, but I'd say more in the television side than like greater Hollywood.
Anyways, Reggie Conquest is at the cellar, and you know Judd Apatow is like standing around or whatever, and Reggie walks up to him all excited, like, Lauren, you got to hear me out here. I got this unbelievable movie to pitch. Can I pitch you my movie? I really want to pitch you my movie. And Lauren's like, Judd's like, okay. And then Reggie just goes on to. He doesn't have a movie. He just pitches him absolute nonsense until Judd Apatow realizes it's total nonsense and walks away.
I love that.
I mean, the balls to just be like, I don't care that this is the biggest producer in comedy or that this is a club. I mean, Reggie might work the cellar. I don't think he works the cellar. He's funny enough to work the cellar, but he's still a younger New York City comic. But anyways, that to me is the best. That's the funniest thing anyone's ever done at the cellar, in my opinion. Top that.
I mean, dude, come on. Really? That's the best thing ever been done at the cellar.
And the upstairs, yeah. You know, not the invention of Tough Crowd, not anything Patrice ever said. It's Reggie's bullshit pitch to Judd Apatow.
Reggie wasting 8 minutes of Judd Apatow's time.
Yeah, I got to get more details on what the bullshit pitch was.
Why don't you have him in?
I'd love to have Reggie on. We could have Reggie on sometime.
I'll literally text him right now.
You mean just to find out the details on his story?
No, see if he's free for next week, dude. I'm a producer. I'm trying to
Okay.
produce.
Yeah, fair point. Anyway, what the fuck were we talking about? We're getting real distracted here this week.
You don't say.
Oh yeah, shrinks. So first time I saw a shrink, I got thrown out of school and they forced me to go to a shrink. And when you get forced to go to a shrink, there's no value in it whatsoever. It's like a court order. Your parents spend a lot of money for you to talk to some dude. He basically talks to you because you just sit there and stare at the floor. And that's what that is until finally he goes, oh, I healed you. And you're like, all right, great. I don't have to show up to this bullshit anymore. And it's also that you can get back into your school and the lawyers of the school can be like, well, we got rid of his drug addiction because we got him counseling. So that was my first experience with the shrink. Second experience with the shrink was after college. You know, I was like, that college thing didn't really work out. I better start dealing with some of my bullshit. Went to see a shrink. I think I went for about 3 sessions. They diagnosed me with ADD. I saw a psychiatrist. The guy gave me Adderall. And I was like, well, I got drugs out of this. There's no reason to go to that anymore. So I stopped doing therapy after 3 sessions because I'm like, I got meds out of this. This was great. That worked out perfectly.
You gamed the system perfectly.
I gamed the system perfectly. Discovered very quickly that while Adderall, while I definitely have ADD, and it was helpful to get that diagnosis and kind of learn a little bit about, you know what one of the most helpful things about the ADD diagnosis for me was, Mr. Harrington?
What's that?
It's that I used to really beat myself up for the absent-minded mistakes that I make. And I used to really think I was stupid. Like, I really thought I was dumb for someone, like, to just absent-minded. Like, sometimes, like, for example, it still happens to me sometimes where I'll mix up days. I'll show up to things on the wrong date kind of shit. And I used to really beat myself up for being stupid. But now I just kind of realize, I got ADD, I'm absent-minded. And beating yourself up doesn't help. So I don't kill myself about these things. I don't not take my Zoloft in the morning and get real mad.
I like it.
It's called being well-adjusted.
Good way to go through life.
And then I had a third time where I went to see a shrink because I was in a real dark place. And it was very productive because I so didn't want to talk to this guy about my problems. Like, I would show up and go, I'm not dealing with this. And he'd go, well, why aren't you dealing with this? I'll be like, you know what? I'll just go take care of it. And I fixed a whole bunch of shit. You know, I'd be like, I don't have a job. Why don't you have a job? I'm like, all right, I'll go apply for jobs. And then I would just take care of it. So, you know, I guess there's some built-in accountability because you don't want to state that you're going to do something and then have to show up somewhere and really, like, in front of someone kind of confront the fact that you didn't do it and then have to diagnose why you didn't do it.
That's true. That was the one thing that I enjoyed about therapy was having, like, an accountability thing. But then there was also the flip side where it was just like, yeah, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, I would come in the next day and be like, why didn't you have this done? I'm like, because I don't care enough about you, the guy who I talk to for 45 minutes a week, to change my life for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in other words, you'd be like, I had the opposite. I was embarrassed about a guy being let in and judging me and trying to analyze why I was getting my own way. I was like, I'll just solve these things. You were like, I don't give a shit about your fucking shitty opinions enough to go out and solve my own problems. I'll just won't solve them, and I'll come here, and I'm not going to even... But was that were you forced to go at that time? That doesn't sound like you chose to go to that, dude.
No, I chose to go to him, but like there was still like a thing where I would, like I said, I would just show up and be like, yeah, I didn't do that. And I don't owe you anything. You know what I mean?
I don't owe you an explanation?
Yeah.
But isn't that just stupid? The whole point is, like, you're kind of... Part of why it works is you're opting in, where you're going, hey, I'm willing to have the conversation with you about why I'm not... why I'm not holding myself to my own values, of that I came in here and we decided, hey, this is a value for me, so I'm going to go out and I'm going to do it. But you just, whatever. I mean, you're you. I'm not like...
No, it's nothing like, it was nothing even that, like, calculating. It was more so like, I would just come in, and instead of having that sense of shame that you were talking about, like, oh, I need to get this done so that I can, like, impress this person, it's like, who are you? Like,
yeah.
What? You're not keeping my bed warm at night. Why? I don't owe you anything,
But then why would you pay the guy on the basis that he's an expert who can help you?
Because I wanted that sense in my mind of like, I'm in therapy. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to be able to say that I was doing.
Well, that's another value to therapy, is that you can just tell people, I'm in therapy, and then you can just keep being a piece of shit because you get that feeling like, well, I'm dealing with it.
Yeah, it's like, it's 2 minutes of conversation for somebody who doesn't have a personality. It's great.
2 minutes. Wait, what was that?
Like 2 minutes of, you can have a 2-minute conversation with anyone about like, yeah, I'm in therapy now because X, Y, and Z, and then talk about whatever, like you can get 2 minutes out of the fact that you're in therapy. Right. And if you don't have a personality, 2 minutes can go a long way in starting a conversation,
You're saying you have so little personality, the fact that it was an hour was stressful for you. You felt like in 2 minutes you could have gotten the whole thing out.
No. I'm saying like talking to strangers. You know what I'm saying? Like you're in a conversation with someone. It's like, oh yeah, I'm in therapy now. It's like, oh yeah, what are you doing? Well, we're working on X one. You know what I mean? And it's
that's
like,
all you wanted to get out of it. So you could really have just shown up once a month for 1 minute, and you would have had enough that you could have told random strangers that you were doing in therapy.
Yeah.
And now, what exactly did you get out of the conversations you were having with people? Like, why was that a thrill to you to be able to be at a bar and be like, hey, I'm getting this out of therapy? Now I feel like I'm the fucking therapist. Let's move on. That's not what I was trying to get at. I'm not trying to solve your problems. That's not what I'm trying to do, and that's the point. If you got fucking problems, go see a therapist, and don't fucking email me about your fucking problems. I don't want to hear about them. Don't make them my responsibility. I've gotten those emails twice, by the way. Late at night, I went out, I was drunk, I ate sandwiches, I want to jerk off and go to bed. I'm dealing with my own bullshit, and someone's writing me, hey, I'm a big fan of blah, 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 and I want to kill myself. And it's like, well, why do you got to make me feel guilty about this? If I don't have an answer for you. You think there's anything I can do to help you? I'm a fucking mess here. I'm trying to eat less sandwiches before I go to bed, and now you want me to solve you not killing? You're just going to throw that at me? No wonder you're depressed in life. You're throwing shit onto people. You're walking around not taking responsibility for you, pretending like other people got to be responsible for it, which that's going to make you depressed because you're being shitty. You see what I'm saying, Harrington?
Yeah, and I think there is the added thing too, where it's like if you're hitting up Robbie Bernstein, just go ahead and pull the trigger, dog. You're not long for this world anyway.
Like, don't put it on me. Don't let me know. I didn't know that you existed 3 minutes ago. Now I got to know that you existed. You asked me for help. I couldn't help you, and you're dead. That's not nice.
Couldn't agree more.
Thanks, buddy. That's what you're here for, so I can take a breath and someone can go, I agree with you.
You are a very smart man. I'm just gonna get instead of me actually having to turn my mic on, I'm just gonna get a drop board of me being
just like you can just push a button like, I agree with you. Okay, well, if Harrington agrees with me, I guess I can move on. And then every once in a while, you pick the weirdest points to disagree with me. Like, I feel like you just change it up and go, you know what, I might as well disagree with him on this one. And then I'm like, well, let's figure out why he disagreed. And then it's like, that you should not explore hot sauces.
Well, every now and then I got to take you to task, like when you call a Reese's bar, which is insane. And I know must have driven every person listening crazy. So I just that's the only time I really feel the need to disagree with you.
Let's be fair. I actually just wanted you to have that moment. You assumed I was talking about Reese's Cups. I couldn't be talking about the Nutrageous bar.
They didn't have that when you were a kid going to your grandma's. Next.
I could have been talking about what was the What was the one that wasn't that good?
Whatchamacallit?
Nah. I actually liked Whatchamacallit's kind of. But it's a lesser candy bar.
Agreed.
Like every once in a while to throw it in there was kind of fun, but it's a lesser candy bar.
For sure.
It's like Brian likes Milky Way. You know, Milky Way's got to be...
Don't you say a bad word about Milky Way to me.
No.
Milky Way is great.
No.
Milky Way is excellent.
No.
It is creamy and delicious. You put it in the freezer. It is the perfect frozen snack.
Does Milky Way make your top 5 candy bars?
Yes.
All right, name your top 5.
Oh, that's...
I want to know what else is in this list that you have room for a Milky Way
putting
bar.
me on the spot like that. All right. I mean, honestly, I'm gonna go Kit Kats.
Because,
are in
by
there.
the way, before you start your list, you can basically put every candy bar before Milky Way, and then you get to Milky Way.
I'm not
Milky
gonna...
Way is so tasteless. It's not even worth the calories. It's like why? It's like you ate your mom's like diet Slim Fast bar, but with all the calories of a candy bar, but none of the taste. It's like they somehow managed to mix caramel lightness and chocolate on the outside into some sort of a flavorless concoction that's not even dietary. But go ahead, tell us
Did
your
you
list.
just call nougat lightness?
I was rolling off my tongue, you know. Just go with it. That was just an agree moment, but sure.
Okay, I agree with you, Rob. 100-gram bar.
Is that number 1, or you're just naming top 5?
I'm not going to pick between my children here. That's
okay.
insane.
Fair enough.
Definitely Kit Kats. Definitely 100-gram bar. Trying to think. Going down the all right. So do M&Ms count?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, peanut butter M&Ms for sure. Definitely gonna have to put a Milky Way in there.
Do you say peanut butter or peanut?
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter M&Ms.
Yeah, the red pack.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Oh.
I'm not new to candy.
Next level.
Okay, I actually prefer peanut M&Ms to peanut butter M&Ms. No question about it. The peanut butter M&Ms, they don't do a lot for me, but a peanut M&M is pretty fantastic. But okay, continue. Continue your list of the worst candy bars. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. So actually, the how I found out about peanut butter M&Ms was I had this brilliant idea in my head where I was like, yo, imagine if you took a Reese's Pieces but then put an M&M on the outside. And they're like, yeah, that candy already exists. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, they already have peanut butter M&Ms. And my jaw almost hit the damn floor. I was so excited. I went out and got like 3 packs that night. So I'm a huge fan of that. Let's see. I'm going to put, does Nerds Rope count?
No, it's not a chocolate bar.
Oh, so chocolate specifically.
Yeah, we're in the chocolate bar category.
Yeah, probably an OG Take 5 then.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. That rounds out my list.
What about that weird one that you insisted when we went to see a movie and then we didn't end up seeing the movie because I was 2 weeks too early on the movie being released?
Wait, what movie was that
we
again?
We were going to go see the dumb Spider-Man cartoon.
Okay, it's not dumb. Have you seen it yet?
It was fine. It was fun. But
okay, it's
we were adults going
to
see cartoons. That we're being dumb. It's fine. Listen, everyone's stupid. Everyone's got their stupid.
We got outrageously stoned and then went and to see a Spider-Man movie. That turned out to be the best Spider-Man movie ever made.
But it wasn't playing for 2 weeks.
Well, you know.
we were in the future.
We got some details off.
Which, for the record, was my blunder. All right.
I don't remember what candy bar I was trying to get that night that I was very insistent
if we've
on.
proved anything from this episode, it's that both you and I should be back on our Adderalls because this is I don't even know what the fuck were we talking about? Something to do with therapy and depression again. We were getting into it.
Well, you're talking about...
Oh, yeah, people emailing me about killing themselves. And I'm telling you, listen, don't kill yourself, but please don't email me beforehand.
And if you're like an even decent-looking, confused girl who's on the edge, feel free to DM me.
There you go. And, I stand by this. I do think part of... this is very salesy. One of the first things they teach you in sales offices is positive mental attitude. And as a person who has definitely... seen the world through the miserable lens, I think you kind of become a shit factory. It's like like in the same way a gun factory, it takes in these raw materials and it produces guns out the outside, or the Laffy Taffy factory, it takes in sugar, it takes in these fake chemicals, and then on the backside it puts all the shit together and you end up with Laffy Taffy. It's like you're walking around, you're seeing the world, and if you see it as being the most horrifying and worst experience ever, you're kind of becoming a shit energy factory where you're interpreting the world and you're putting out shit. You know what I mean? So I think that there's something to be said for you live within your own brain, perception's reality, and if you live in your brain, I'm kind of taking this from Bill Murray, you might as well make it pleasant. You might as well invest in, like, if you owned a garden and you're going to put together your garden, you might as well make it a nice garden. So if you're in your brain, perception's reality, and your entire life you got to view the world, you might as well figure out how you can look at the world and observe it in a way that you go, hey, this is kind of cool.
Couldn't agree more.
You know what? We should make that a drop that they can use it in their daily life. Like if you're giving a presentation at work or something and you're not sure what you're talking about, you can just drop the little Harrington drop of, what is it?
Couldn't agree more.
Perfect. And you say it in the same tone every time. Like, I mean, it almost sounds like you've been at home just practicing it, where you're like, I want more time on this pot. Let me practice this. Wait, one more time.
I couldn't agree more.
There you go. Okay. So now here's my breakdown, and this is not the medical breakdown of what these terms really are. Like they talk about, depression as being this, I guess, it's a disease, or it's this tangible, real thing, or it's an ailment that can't possibly be cured and they got to put you on medications for. And that might be true for you. Like I said, I'm not a shrink. See a shrink. If they give you meds, take your damn meds. But I think depression, in the same way when you touch an oven and it hurts because, you burned your hand and your body's letting you know, hey, don't touch an oven. I think depression in a lot of ways is your body's pain mechanism for giving up. I think life is about being challenged and struggling, and when late at night you decide, hey, instead of waking up early, instead of being sharp tomorrow for work, I'm just gonna get hammered, or instead of leaving my house today, I'm just gonna watch TV. And then if you just keep kind of doing these things, you're not really participating in life. You're kind of consistently engaging in activities that are deathly. Overeating, that's deathly. And if you're constantly picking death over life and you're not engaging in struggle, which is what life is. Life is literally you struggle, and I think the pain mechanism in your body for when you're opting out of struggle and only for comfort is that you start to feel depressed, and that's your body. It's your pain mechanism, so that you don't just continue to do those things. Harrington?
Couldn't agree more.
Now, come on, you must have a take on that a little bit.
I mean, I do agree. There is a certain sense of there's pain here. The problem I have with that is it is crippling in the sense of once you get depressed, you don't have the energy, motivation, lack of apathy to go ahead and change anything about your reality. So with pain, it's whatever's hurting me, every instinct in your body is get away from this. Whereas depression, it's I'm depressed. I for sure need to just lie down in bed and not do anything about this. You know what I mean?
So I think, to me, I think the first step is deciding to fight, and then it's every cliche in the book. It's one foot in front of the other, one punch at a time, and hopefully over time a couple things happen. One is momentum kicks in, where you start having success, and then success kind of builds on itself. Or if you even just start with the little goals, and you go, oh shit, look at this, I'm not a piece of shit, I can actually do something. But I think until you make the mental decision of, hey, I'm gonna fight, hey, I'm overweight, but you know what, I'm gonna take this step in the right direction, there's no way out. The first step is going, hey, I'm going to fight this. And I think once you do that, and then you can start taking steps in the right direction or trying to develop a plan, whatever it is, I just think life is about struggle. And if you accept, hey, I've got to struggle with this, and you choose to fight, that's when you start kind of clicking out of it. Whereas when you just accept defeat, you know what I mean? That's, to me, depression is literally the body's pain mechanism for accepting defeat, because we're not supposed to do that.
I guess, but there is something that feels so good.
No, it doesn't feel good.
It does. It's comforting and reassuring, a warm bath.
No, I think it's the opposite.
That I want to slip my wrists in. What?
I think it's the opposite, where we take, you kind of want to be lazy, and you kind of want to do things that are comfortable but aren't necessarily productive. And so the body's pain mechanism in terms of making those decisions are that you actually feel depressed, and that's your body kind of letting you know, hey, this isn't fulfilling. Opting out isn't fulfilling. That's why rich people or trust fund kids, that they don't they're not struggling with anything. They end up just being bored, and then they end up being depressed, because it's the way we're wired. We're wired to struggle. We're wired to fight. And if you try and opt out from that, you can't avoid boredom and depression. That to me is literally the pain mechanism for opting out.
I guess, but there is a certain sense of All right, so like with that exact example, right, of
Yeah.
pain. If your hand catches fire, you pull your hand away. You're telling like I get what you're saying in the sense of like, yes, that like when you feel apathy, you get depression, but like, there is a certain sense of like, well, your life is already fucked. You know what I mean? Like, yes, there's tons of rich people who deal with that, but there's also a ton of fucking people who are like, downtrodden and like living, straight up homeless people who are very depressed. And it's like, I don't see how depression helps them to like get better in any way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't strike me as a universal, instigator of like change. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so let me just rephrase what you're saying, because I think it's a fair criticism that essentially, if I'm comparing it, okay, so firstly, maybe, all right, let me just phrase what you're saying first, that if pain mechanisms are to keep us from, from engaging in destructive behavior, so why is it that this one can kind of, like, keep you doing the painful thing?
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think in the same way, sometimes even with your body, like your pain, like that's why people need to take painkillers, is like their pain mechanisms become debilitating. Like, in other words, even like with your back, like you can have back pain that's kind of letting you know, hey, I got to stop sitting in chairs all day or slouching, but then you can get to the point where you did so much of that, your back's just fucked and you're in pain all the time, and now the pain mechanism's not even helpful because you can't solve the problem. So I'm just walking around in pain, which that could be what debilitating depression becomes, where it's like you need medication because you got to be able to tone down the sensation because the sensation symbol is broken, in which case it actually becomes more of a true comparison, and then it's a little bit away from what I was going from, which is, hey, I don't really think you need those meds, or I don't think that this is like a real full-fledged thing, but maybe it does get to that point where where it is absolutely 100% overwhelming pain to the point that it's not helpful. But I think at its root, and I think it's true to the example, depression is basically, it is a pain mechanism to try and force you to decide to opt into life and to struggle and to try and make improvements.
So if anything, then the pharmaceutical solution is a short-term solution to a long-term problem, right? So it'll get you to a point where you will be able to at least start taking that first right
or
step
at least
and
get
throw that
you
first
jump
punch.
started. It's like, I think the best example for that kind of thing, it's a little bit like taking steroids. I think if you take these things like short-term, you can probably get a boost. Like if you take steroids to overcome an injury, I kind of get that, but then you see these people, it's like you take them and then you need them forever because your body stops producing testosterone. This is something we're going to get to a little bit later, but I actually take comfort in this. I find in life there is no winning. I found that like I used to in life really romanticize, like I'd be afraid to, like, for example, commit in a relationship because if I'm in it, not that I've dated in the last 5 years or been in a relationship, but conceptually I would be fear of the fear of missing out. Hey, if I'm in this relationship, what's that other thing that will never be able to come or be because I'm with this person? Whereas now I kind of accept there really is no winning in life. You kind of like, there's no free ride. You only get what you work for and you earn for. If you got it for free, you're not going to enjoy it anyways. And so I kind of like take comfort in the fact you make, like, I learned this from gambling, dude. You go to a poker table, or in my case, craps, and sometimes you gamble and you lose, but you made the choice to gamble and you walked away and you lost. And I feel like everything in life, it's kind of that risk-reward ratio. There's like a yin and a yang element, and like literally there's no winning. The only joy you will get in life is the things you worked hard for and earned. Otherwise, you won't really experience joy. And if you choose not to work, like if you always go for what's easy, at the end of the day, you don't feel fulfilled, and there's like an aspect of depression that kicks in. And I feel that also with like the medications. Sorry, I feel like you had something to say there and I'm rambling.
Not at all.
Oh, okay. I feel that that's also true with the medications that, like, for instance, like the Adderalls and that kind of shit. In my experience, you burn through a lot of like your focus when you take it. Like I can take Adderall for 2 days, get a lot out of it, but then I have to spend a day where I'm basically depressed because I think you just burn through a lot of your adrenaline. You burn through your dopamine. It's like those chemicals would burn evenly in your brain, but you flared them up all at once. I think it's the same with booze. It's like you burn through some of your good chemicals, and then all of a sudden when you're not on it, And then here's the other thing. But
You're just hitting the nos, doggy.
Yeah, you're hitting the nos, but at some point that doesn't work forever. And then the bigger problem is
you can't run on just nos.
You become reliant. Yeah, you can't fill your gasoline tank with nos. You can hit it once, but it's the same thing with it's like taking steroids. Like you don't want to become dependent on this shit because then you need it forever. You want to kind of figure out how you can rely on your own. So the same would probably be true conceptually for depression pill. That if you take it short term to start figuring out some better habits, which I used Adderall for. I really did use Adderall for that. Like I would take it in the short term to kind of click out of my old brain process and just develop better habits. But at some point, if you can wean yourself off of that and just keep the better habits, then you're on the path to success. Couldn't agree
with you more, Robbie.
There you go. We could say it in concert. Now here's the next one. Anxiety. So unlike depression, which I said I feel is like just the brain's kind of pain mechanism for giving up, I find anxiety more than anything else is it's a sensation in your brain when you just don't see a path to victory. It kind of is like I've both been very anxious and I've been very depressed. I find depression is like the worst of those two things. Anxiety kind of preempts anxiety can turn into depression where you get so overwhelmed by being anxious all the time, you want to give up, and then that's when it turns to depression. But I find, generally speaking, anxiety is that in any situation, any time in life, like even a social situation, you just don't see a path to winning, and so you start feeling anxious because like you don't see a forward path. That's basically what I define anxiety as.
You're supposed to have anxiety.
I think sometimes anxiety, it can be helpful, but sometimes it can be overwhelming if you allow it to be crippling and you give up. But if you can kind of go, hey, this is a faulty sensation that it's trying to ramp up. I feel like you guys are like staring at something both together. It's making me a little nervous. It's almost like the look of
just a hot chick.
Oh, who's the hot chick? Can we pull her up on the screen?
Yeah, sure. I mean, she's like not even that hot, but
Not even that hot.
I mean, come on. She's 19 and she's a MMA champion.
I mean, listen.
It's pretty hot, dude.
If she was my girlfriend, I would parade her to every single place I've ever gone in my entire life and go, hey, look at this hot chick I'm banging now. Isn't this incredible? Every office I walked into, I'd have a picture. I'd wear it around I'd wear T-shirts and go, hey, who's this T-shirt of? Oh, that's the hot chick I'm banging. But in terms of, hey, I'm pulling up a hot picture of a chick, I mean, she looks like she might have Down syndrome or something. Like a hot Asian chick who walked through a Down syndrome machine and then came out that side a little downsy.
That's still a way bigger improvement on your love life.
Oh my God, YOSEF is here.
Woo!
YOSEF is here. All right, well, we're not even close to. We're about to take a call, but send him. Is the guy that was calling in? Is he on the horn?
No.
Oh, he hasn't even called in yet.
No.
Okay, well, let's. YOSEF, can I finish up this topic or just come in? It doesn't matter. We've been all over the place.
YOSEF, you want to head in?
Yeah, come on in.
All right, I'll turn his mic on.
This is incredible. Back in action, in studio, none other than the Yussel himself. By the way, you look good. The glasses, the beard.
Amazing.
I mean, your outfit.
Say it into the mic.
Your outfit is more homelessy than Harrington's dress, but I'm saying in the face, you look distinguished.
Tell him to speak into the mic.
You got to talk
like
into the mic.
3 trades behind on the Cespedes jersey.
By the way, if you're feeling terrible, we're doing a whole episode on depression, so you came to the right place, buddy. We're covering the ins and outs.
I've made it. I'm depressed now, so.
Okay, well, there you go. Well, you don't have to bum out our listeners. We're trying to offer solutions. We're not just saying that we're depressed.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm at the beginning stages of this whole depression thing, so.
Okay.
I might need the help.
Well, lucky for you, me and Harrington are experts. We'll talk you right out of it.
YOSEF, can I just get you to go to the farm mic, actually?
All right.
Thanks.
Oh, good to be back.
Why?
I think the last time I was.
I don't think his mic is on.
Now it is.
It's been months. Ever since Henry came into your life and ruined our podcast. I never liked that kid. The other two were fine. I mean, the other two didn't get in the way of our relationship, but then Henry came along and said, no more. I need full attention.
So it's been at least 7 months. I can't hear shit.
Yeah, I don't hear YOSEF at all.
I hear him just fine.
Don't worry. We already told the listeners not to listen to this episode.
Wait,
so you
try
can
it
really...
now. YOSEF, can you hear now?
Yeah,
No.
I can hear it.
See,
No, go back to the other mic. But I can hear you just fine.
I'm all over.
So you can really cut loose. It's our first week back in studio. We don't have our groove.
I brought sandwiches.
I am so excited. I need
everyone.
I need a sandwich so bad. Wait, that is not enough sandwich for everyone.
Who's everyone? I already
You mean-
I already ate. Dinner.
You already so me and Harrington can eat a sandwich and a half. That's perfect.
Best day ever.
That's a great amount of sandwiches.
I can't hear anything.
You can't hear Robbie?
I'm a fucking mess.
Hold on.
You just gotta. I think if you might just have to turn
How
your
about now?
cans up.
Oh, we're good. We're good. We're good.
There you
You're
go.
All right.
All right.
Yeah. Who
Welcome-
else do I need to bring for?
Welcome back to the podcast, Mr. Feldstein.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's back from a 7-month hiatus,
At least.
caring for a big dick baby.
The thing is,
Yeah.
I've still been involved.
No,
right?
you've been calling in. It's been
Yeah,
great.
here and there.
Also,
and-
we've been
but-
summer porch touring.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm owed an end of the summer porch tour podcast on your porch.
Sure.
It's going to have to be a fall event. We're going to have to retheme it.
Okay.
Maybe like a pumpkin picking, and we'll make
We
a
could still
pumpkin pie.
barbecue.
Dude, the fireside chat. We'll just start a
No
fire in his
fireside
front
chats.
yard.
No bonfires in
Mike-
Yosef's new
Mike,
house's front yard.
Mike, you're still looking for a place to live?
He's hoping if he burns down your house, maybe just the basement will
Ashes.
survive and he'll get a couple months undisturbed.
Squatters' rights. Squatters' rights.
How's the house going? Is it
It's going.
okay?
It's fine.
Any
It's
any
gonna-
other massive repairs?
No.
Nothing else that they sneak past you?
Nothing terrible in the likes of that first fucking disaster of a week, whatever it was. Week that felt like a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've just been chugging along.
All right. And can you tell us about these delicious
All right,
sandwiches
so
that you
I made
brought
a
in for
meatloaf
us?
tonight, a crock pot meatloaf.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And I had some leftover.
What kind of sauce goes into a crock pot meatloaf?
So
Is it
a
like a
lot of it-
tomatoey sauce, or you mixing it up with more of like a gravy kind of ordeal?
The sauce on the top, after the meatloaf itself is fully cooked, it was just like a mix of Worcestershire sauce, ketchup, mustard, and some brown sugar. So
I
it's a
thought
nice,
Jews
like,
don't really use the whatever sauce because there's usually some fish in there.
Oh, you're putting me in a box with all those lousy Jews now?
No, I'm asking.
No, they make.
They make fish free. I'm not that
Or
familiar.
there might have been some fish stuff. Whatever.
Yeah, you weren't
We're
asking.
good.
You know, this goes back to the only cooking I really did was back in my parents' house. I make a good cholent. That's really one of the only dishes that I make. But I've never. I
Mike's
don't.
familiar with chillin'.
What,
Or
are you?
post-op
Oh,
chillin'.
post-op chillin', yeah. If for those who don't remember that episode, that's a callback to Yosef's Fart Spectacular and the first appearance of Mike Harrington on the podcast, where I was a much better sport about sniffing your farts. I was a professional about it.
Yeah,
I was like, we're here, we got a podcast, I'm broadcasting, I don't care how bad it stinks, I'm going to plow forward. It was a
Mike
pew
ran.
testament of my ability to broadcast, even in the most of extreme of conditions.
You were on the other side of the room.
No, I
I
wasn't.
was right next to him.
I was in the room with you. I was closer to him. You were closer to the door.
Within
he
a
was on
minute,
the far side.
You were
I was
about
in the
a mile
middle.
away, Mike. Though.
There's a moment in there. We got to cut the highlight where you really nearly threw up. You were gagging.
the grossest thing ever.
It was pretty horrible. Now, by the way, the reason I brought you in there was because we sat down and I was like waiting to this episode. I was all prepared, and you sat, and it was a closed room, and and I couldn't believe that you. I literally couldn't believe that we're in this small
You were
room.
shocked that I farted once and then I blasted about 14
No,
more.
I don't think I even commented on the first one. And then on the second, I was like, you're gonna do this the whole episode. And you're like, yeah. I was like, well, I can't be the only one in here commenting on how gross these farts are. I'm not gonna like.
Oh, you actually called Mike in.
I'm not gonna be mind fucked into thinking that this is normal. I need someone else in here who can give the play-by-play on how ridiculous and disgusting
they
it
smell
is.
bad.
And that was the birth of Harrington and the YOSEF Fart Spectacular. Anyways, back to this crock pot. Back to this.
So that was just the sauce. The meatloaf was pretty. I would say it's a very flavorful meatloaf.
What'd you cook it in?
What I told you, a crock pot.
No, I meant like when I used to crock
I
pot
know.
it up. I mean, it would be like
No, the
a certain amount
meatloaf
of
was-
water. I'd be putting onion powder in, garlic powder in, all
Only-
sorts of stuff.
There was
Keep talking. I just want to give this to
essentially no
Harrington.
liquid. But no, the meatloaf. You'll get a little taste of it. It's got some onions, carrots, bunch of spices, and like
A little bit of spinach. Sometimes people put a little spinach in.
no spinach in this
No
one.
spinach. Okay.
But I think you'll enjoy.
And what kind of bread? What kind of condiments? What happened
then-
from there?
So basically, well, we just had the meatloaf as is.
But then you decided
Then
you would
on
make
our-
me a
I
sandwich.
said, you know what?
What a pal.
I have this crock pot full of meatloaf.
What a pal.
I have these leftover. There are some hamburger buns. There are also some challah rolls.
Yeah.
So I did 2 hamburger rolls and 1 challah roll of. So you could, choose, and Mike could get whatever you don't choose, and
What were my options? Challah roll or
hamburger bun.
I'm going challah roll. No question about it. Unless it's not of a high quality challah roll.
It's fairly high quality.
Have you ever had a bulky roll?
Yeah, of course.
I had a bulky roll for the first time in Newport, Rhode Island. I'd never seen it before. And at first, I wasn't paying attention to them because they disguised themselves
As a Kaiser roll.
as a Kaiser roll. Like if they wanted
to, it's like
But-
let's step up.
but here, not
That I'm knocking on a Kaiser roll.
I don't
God
like
forbid.
Kaiser rolls. We've discussed
We know that, and
my
you're ridiculous, but whatever. Okay, we'll move on.
bulky rolls or no bulky rolls. Bulky roll would be a good name though.
And a good roll.
Bulky rolls are kind of like the potato roll of Kaiser rolls, and that they're soft, doughy. You can kind of mash it. And
Kaiser roll you could also mash.
no, Kaiser rolls, like it's got the outside, which is crusty, which I don't mind the crusty outside. I find the density, the real looseness of the inside, which is almost, even though it tastes nothing like a croissant, it's not really croissant-y. No, that's the wrong way to describe it.
Not flaky,
You know, that's
it's
how
put
much I
together.
just don't like a
Yeah,
Kaiser
you're not even
roll.
willing to.
Yeah, to give
you
it a
know,
good
like,
breakdown.
To even give a thought of what it actually is.
It just sounds. It tastes like just dryness on the outside of what I'm trying to eat, and it doesn't even hold things together that well. I'm all against the Kaiser roll.
So
but
what was on your bulky bowl?
Oh,
Bulky roll.
I made a delicious steak sandwich on a bulky roll. I think I put some guac on there, maybe some grilled peppers, some steak.
Okay.
And the bulky roll, that was it. But I was very impressed. I was like, how have I not come across these bulky rolls? How has no one mentioned this to me? I'm in the bread game. I'm talking about breads, and I've yet to come across these bulky rolls. And I was like, extra shame on those that are eating Kaiser rolls because of how substantially better I understand maybe the shape of the Kaiser roll was alluring to people, or like there were some prospects of the way, but the fact that the bulky roll exists serves all the function of the Kaiser roll at such a higher level. I think it should the Kaiser roll should just be phased out at this point.
Get the fuck out of here. Nah.
I've never heard of this thing.
The bulky roll?
Never one.
So apparently it's Northeast specific.
So here's
it's
the thing.
It's not worldwide.
So I just
There are going to be
Googled.
California listeners who aren't even aware of this thing.
Okay, I'm going to show you something here.
Yeah.
I just Googled the bulky roll, right? And look what came up.
A picture of a Kaiser roll?
Kaiser roll, Kaiser roll, Kaiser roll, Kaiser roll.
Did you mean Kaiser roll?
It's a sister, but the better looking sister.
Again, I don't. I'm fine with the bulky roll, but I'm not willing to say we all have to disband all Kaiser rolls.
I'll blind taste test a Kaiser versus
and
bulky
you'll
every
lose.
day. And any sandwich, I will compete a bulky over a Kaiser.
I think-
and you will pick the bulky. And if you pick the Kaiser, I'd give you a bite of the bulky. You'd go the bulky's better.
And I'm confused. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, basically,
So you brought delicious sandwiches.
hopefully delicious.
How are we going to go out to eat, though? Because we'll go out for dessert?
I don't know.
All right.
Figure some shit out.
That's very sweet of you. I'm
I
excited.
thought it was pretty sweet.
I'm excited to eat.
I come here bearing sandwiches, the food of this podcast, the thing that got this podcast this far, kind of is the lifeblood of this
You could say we
podcast.
run on sandwiches.
Yeah.
Oh,
You could say it's
copyright?
it's the bread to my politics in the middle. Holding it all together. Keeping the listener's interest. Okay. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk...
That sounds delicious. 2 sandwiches as the bread of a sandwich with politics in the middle.
I've seen... I don't know who was doing this, but someone was doing like a grilled cheese hamburger, but instead of like...
The grilled cheeses were the bun.
Yeah, but it was a full grilled cheese sandwich as the
No, I
bun.
get
It
it.
wasn't just like...
No,
yeah.
I understand.
Yeah, I've seen that. I'm trying to think where else I've seen a full sandwich as the outer bread.
So 2 grilled cheese sandwiches.
2 grilled
Exactly,
cheese sandwiches with like a hamburger.
I was going
in
to
the
say one
middle.
is just a melt.
Right.
Yeah, I'm trying to think where else I've seen. Can you Google that? People who are making sandwiches into sandwiches, but I don't want to see any like epic mealtime. Not really, not something that can't feasibly be eaten. I want to see something with
that
proper
you could actually put your hands
proportions.
around.
Yeah. You know, it's one of the. I think I even sent you the picture of it, or maybe you sent it to me, and I was shocked, and I was like, I got to get
The
this.
garlic knot one.
Yes.
That's what. What's his
Yes,
name,
I told my
pulled up.
local pizza place because I love me and my pizza guy. We're
Yeah.
good friends. That's like my new dad. I hang out with this dude.
We know.
I was telling him I read about this. I think it would be good here, and he was into it, but he hasn't implemented it.
All right. Some things it takes time. Sometimes.
Yeah, you mean I got to keep working it. It's like it
just
needs
gotta,
some
like-
follow up game.
yeah, not even follow-up.
I planted the seed.
He might be like testing it. Like not actually put it out for production yet.
Right. I got to do it as a special order.
No, you need to like let him
Yeah.
perfect it so that he could actually put it on the menu.
Okay, so this is a total ADD fest of an episode.
Oh shit.
And like I've said, I've told people at the beginning of this episode not to listen. So if they're still here listening to this one, I stand by our content. This one's on you. So what we're gonna do now
Did
is
they know that I was coming in?
I actually
at the
said
beginning?
I said at the top that you would be here,
All right,
but that
so
wasn't the reason I said not to listen.
No, I know
If
that.
anything, I
I'm saying
plugged.
people are gonna, if they're awaiting
Yeah.
the arrival of me.
Yeah. Well, if anything, I said I plugged. Hey, YOSEF's going to be here. That's
skip
super
forward.
cool. Like so, yeah. And okay. But anyways,
Okay.
we have a caller inner. I'm going to call it a caller inner from now
boy.
on. We got a caller inner who's
No,
he's not there. He just told me he's there.
I don't see him.
What the fuck is this guy doing us?
Hold on.
He said the words that worked.
Okay. I don't. You got VMix open there? No. I don't see him. So maybe.
Can I just give you back the phone?
Hold on.
I'll talk.
Let me see if
sandwiches.
this works. Hold on one sec.
You get the guy up.
Hello. Yo.
Hello.
Yo. Is that him?
I hear him. He's kind of like a cholo
Is that
kind
you,
of guy.
YOSEF? You prick, dude. Trying to actually do work here. Yeah. No. Then I guess
He said he's there, but it's just a blank screen.
What?
Why is it so blank in here?
Videos. Hold on one sec.
Harrington, this is your big moment to show off your producing prowess.
All right, give me your phone back. I'll get this guy all sorted out. This is crazy.
All right, so while we try and figure out whether or not that guy does or does not exist, we can go back to what we were talking about with you,
Oh, fantastic.
which is sandwiches. Now, we got one or two
Do you want to
topics.
try one of these?
The problem is I have to leave the studio to try
Dude,
it.
can't
you
even,
can't eat it?
can't
I
even
can't
see
eat
it.
in here.
That's fair.
Maybe if we're on the network, then we could say with like show content. But the fact that we're off network, I feel like I'm being an asshole. I don't know. Harrington, can I
No,
eat
no,
it
no,
as
I don't
show?
wanna-
No.
No.
All right, I shouldn't.
No, you're
And
beat, dude.
it's like
It's sloppy.
yeah, it's
it's
a
Hamish.
little loose. It's
Yeah, it's
you know,
sloppy.
If
It's
it was just I don't know, something you could just pop in your mouth.
right.
Fine.
If it was slider side, if it was like
yeah,
two
one
bites.
bite,
Yeah.
everyone knows the rules.
I get where you're coming from. So I
they're
want
still
to
warm.
let the fans know that you found a grift in the system, a way that you can basically, even if you're just bored, you're not hungry, there's a way to get free food delivered right to you.
Sometimes delivered, sometimes to pick up, but in either case, I'll present both. It's kind of like a glitch in the system.
So let them know. I mean, this is the one thing that's getting you through life right now.
It
When
really
times
is.
when
It's-
times are
it's-
tough,
it's
sometimes
it's more of an art form than anything else because like it's not even like yes I enjoy the food
No, but it's more that you
about,
pulled it
like,
off each
it's
time.
more about the like thrill of the game.
Well, you know what? You're really good at I don't know what the logistics. You're very good at logistics.
I wouldn't
And-
say I'm good at logistics.
No, you're good
I'm-
at logistics.
I think I'm good at like finding little quirks in.
No, I'm thinking back when you were running your cab airport driving enterprise.
That was logistical.
in which you
yes.
didn't really even you didn't even want to take money. You just wanted to run the logistics, get people paid, make sure that people were getting to the airport. At first, you were making money.
I was making I was doing that was probably like my most successful venture. Not like that it could have been ongoing.
when you were booking other people for rides.
I wasn't getting cut of it.
That's what I'm saying.
that's why I was
So
like- it
at
was
one
more
point,
like just thrill of the
the thrill of the logistics.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You're good at logistics. So now
it was more about like making sure that my client base was happy,
was well served.
and even if I couldn't do it, just
Yeah.
to get them service.
Yeah, so that
Tell
they always.
tell the listeners my that game.
What was the game?
No, what I did. What?
Oh no, it was okay. Great business venture. Great business venture.
And this was
but the problem is,
before
yeah,
any driving service, any Uber, any
so
fucking Lyft.
here's the problem is that with inflation, I don't think people are going to quite understand what $50 was. But this is already 10 years ago, probably.
This was at least 15.
10 years ago, let's say.
No, longer than
Oh,
15 years ago.
15 years ago?
Because I've been actually
Yeah, because and
working
it
for
was like
15 and
yeah, when we were 17 or like 18, YOSEF had a great business venture, which was he would drive you to the airport in your car for $50. Now, what's great about that is that since he's driving you in your car, it's your gas, it's your tolls.
Exactly.
So really, the actual cost of getting a ride to the airport was probably $100, but the convenience factor that it's just in your car and you don't have to deal with the cab guy, you don't have to deal with anything.
And also that your car would be returned safely right into your driveway.
Yeah.
It was, and you know, like let's just call it the customer. The customer could be at their own convenience because I'd show up at their house, and then whenever they're ready to leave to the airport,
and I
would be there.
This is the best part about that gig is that you established the price. You said, "Hey, I'll drive you to the airport for $50." And people tipped. It wasn't
yeah.
like usually you kind of like tip a limo guy because you assume a bunch of it's going, like a cab driver. Most of it's going to the cab company. You're supposed to tip on it. So since there's
essentially all tip.
Yes, but since there's a built-in etiquette of tipping drivers, people would still tip you. You might get
The good ones. I remember there were some that like there were some guys that like it was not a dime over 50, and then also sometimes they would say, "Oh, and can you fill up my car with gas on the way back? Here's some gas money." Like, but it was expected that this $25 would go towards gas. I'm like, what the those were the assholes,
right?
And I could name names off the air, but remember
then you dropped those
guys.
Clients.
No, I continued.
Okay.
I would never say no.
Yeah.
Or I'd find someone else to take them. I know, like, okay, that one I'd want to pawn off to.
You're good and bad
friends.
leads. I get it.
You might have even been
the
that
bad
guy.
one. Yeah.
I think Avi actually I pawned off a lot to.
There you go.
At least that guy to Avi. I remember him also doing it. But no, it was great.
It was an
business.
enterprise.
And also it started like there was one guy in the community who was like, and it started to go to Westchester Airport from Connecticut.
Oh, which is a nothing drive.
Which is like nothing, and it was still like $50.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay,
Flat
JFK, LaGuardia, $50. Newark was 70.
Yeah.
I remember. Newark's a bitch.
Yeah.
But he basically was like, I need to get to the airport. I know that now you're driving. Would you be able to take me in my car, drive me back? It'll be $50. I was like, that sounds great.
Oh, that's how it started.
That's how it started. One guy was like, he put it out there to me. I was like, oh, I could actually run with this. I could actually like tell everyone in the community and undercut all the limo companies and shit like that. And that's what happened.
You were making money.
Oh, making bang.
Yeah.
That was great.
And that's back when you were smoking weeds. He had weed money.
And
what's better than being that college kid who figured out a great way
to support their
weed habit? That is being a winner at that age.
And also
range,
when you were like that young, that like
having any money was like
first
unbelievable.
Of all, any money, and also like you didn't. I basically could run on anything.
Right.
Like
also it's a pure profit model. You didn't really need to advertise much because it was word of mouth.
Word
you
of
didn't
mouth
have to
and
invest.
also free advertising on like whatever.
Yeah, and since you weren't a real business, it's not like you didn't need insurance or any of that stuff.
No overhead,
nothing.
Yeah, it was just and
you.
Also all cash business.
All cash.
Yeah.
We didn't report one penny of that. Good thing 15 years.
No
is that the statute? That's the statute of limitations, right? I would hope so. Hey, did we got that guy on the air? Did he finally call in?
Yeah, for tax crimes, there's definitely statutes of limitations. The IRS has never fucked anyone 20 years after the fact.
I hope not. Hey, have you tried the Reese's Take 5?
Of course.
And
you told me about it.
No. I told you about the Reese's Outrageous.
Right.
It's called the Outrageous bar.
Yeah, that I tried on your...
Oh, my God. That's like...
so they have a Reese's Take 5?
I just experimented with tonight, and at least the one I tried was a total miss.
Ooh.
But I'm thinking...
Did they overload it too much on
it was such a miss, I almost feel like I got a bad candy bar.
No, that's not
No, I'm saying it was
they're so consistently...
I'm telling you that this 100% tasted like... Oh, you have perfect teeth.
Stale.
You've never had to see a dentist. No, it didn't taste stale. It tasted like the flavor when you get your tooth drilled and your dead tooth is hitting your tongue, and that has a very specific like cement. Oh no, not even that. When they put the filling in, they put like cement in your mouth. That's the flavor. You get a little bit of that cementy thing on your tongue. That's what this tasted like. It is the worst tasting candy. I didn't even finish it. That's how bad it was.
Interesting.
I took a couple bites and I moved on with my life. Do you remember that episode of Doug when they were putting cement into the candy bars? That was the rumor, and then they went to the plant.
I remembered one.
Jack your teeth up.
And then they realized because the Reggie or whatever the guy's name with the green face, who was the evil Doug. There was the evil, his nemesis guy is selling all these candy bars, and Doug's like, "Well, what's going on?" And then he finds out he's cheating because he's putting a different candy bar into the wrapper so he could sell a whole bunch of it. They're in like the Boy Scouts or something gay like that. And so he tells him, because everyone's telling him, hey, the thing tastes like cement. So he goes to the owner's house and he goes, hey, man, something's wrong with your candy bar. Everyone says it tastes like cement. And they go to the factory, and there's actually cement going into the candy bar. But then it doesn't become like a town outrage of, holy shit, we've been feeding
It's just
people
like,
cement.
Oh, Doug figured it out.
No, it wasn't even that. I don't know what happened from there. Anyways, is this guy on the phone or what?
As if he's not. We could go off on another tangent.
All right. So I want to hear logistics expert.
Oh, right.
Figured out a new grift where you're getting.
So
yeah,
there are two systems. I guess it's along the lines of the food delivery and food ordering apps.
Yeah.
The Grubhubs, the Uber Eats, the Seamlesses of the world. So
sometimes companies are in a growth stage and they just want new customers.
Well, I think you need to kind of like pinpoint and target like when they're like running promos.
Yeah.
And then you could kind of, if you see two things kind of up and running at the same time, you could like target the, like not even combine offers, but like use one offer with a place that is running something else like as a standard.
Like a lunch special?
Okay, so
okay.
Essentially, like, usually Grubhub is like the king of it, of this. We got the Grubhub's the leader of this game.
Okay,
they're like the best app, I would say, at least in my experience. And my company, like, generally, like, if sometimes they'll what is it? They'll cover lunch for me.
Yeah.
At the office, so like sometimes I'll order.
What's your lunch budget if
There's no real budget.
Oh,
it can't be like $100.
Yeah, but like if you're ordering within reason,
it's not capped. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There was one time when like an order like it kind of like got screwed up on the charge and it like charged like I don't know like $45.
And they were like, "What happened?"
And like that was the only time it was questioned like 5
right.
years ago. Whatever. So like I have like also.
What do you have to do to earn lunch? That they go, hey, we'll buy you lunch today?
Essentially when it's like not demanded, but like when I can't leave the office, essentially.
Okay,
like
so
when,
like
people are on
I get it.
like when there's some people that are out that I'm kind of tied to
the desk
like
then you can order lunch.
It's like, okay, you could order, like,
yeah,
and we'll cover it.
So do you almost hope that everyone's going to be out at lunchtime?
Sometimes. Not even out at lunchtimes. Like, it's only when it's like
you can declare lunch at 11. Like if they're all out.
No. It's
I get
on
it.
days when like
everyone's out for the day, so you have to be. You're not allowed to leave because
it's not like if someone is out.
Yeah, I get it.
So yeah, and also if you're like ordering a lot, like Grubhub at least will send more promo codes and shit like that. And like,
can you be high volume off of just their like specials? Like if you keep going off their specials,
no. Sometimes
it's like a bonus round.
My like scam of them isn't even at like this level of the promo. Like sometimes like if you order like 2 days in a row, essentially,
they'll
say like, oh, like we'll send 20% off your next meal if you order today. Like a second meal of the day, essentially. Like that's what.
Oh, they're really saying, encouraging like, fat fuckery.
Oh, for sure. Like they know that it's like
habitual.
Like,
they want you.
They're like they want you to like build and like for it just to become like rote.
Yeah. Isn't Grubhub owned by Seamless? Aren't they
Grubhub
one and the same
bought
Seamless?
Seamless. They both exist, but they
exist separately.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They exist separately, but they're essentially the same.
Seamless
at this point.
fucks restaurants because it basically here's their grift. Because they got a great grift. It's the best business model ever. It's basically arbitrage on advertising dollars. And that basically, it's the same. I'm not going to name all the companies, but Amazon's not that dissimilar. That most people, if you're not on the first page of Google, you don't exist. So if I'm looking for a restaurant, a lot of people, either they end up at Seamless because that's what comes up for delivery.
Oh, well, that's
or,
the top.
That's in the, or they've already they're already built into the Seamless platform, so if you're not on Seamless, they're not even looking for you.
Right.
So Seamless is the digital equivalent of like going to the food court at the mall, in that they don't have to actually be a food court, they don't have to have rent, they don't have to have any of that, but it's the digital equivalent because everyone goes to Seamless because firstly, they spend all the money on marketing that they can be on the front page of, like that's part of it is being on the front page of Google, and also they've just have the customer acquisition at this point that a lot of people will go to Seamless. But now if you're a restaurant, plenty of restaurants will literally give you a discount if you call them directly.
Oh, for
You can call any of them. Like the pizza guy that I like, he tells me, he drives me nuts. Like these like their customers, they're in there all the time. Just fucking call me up. Like
Talk to me like a normal person.
You're going through.
I hate that.
You're going through Seamless, and now I have to give like 20% of the order to Seamless for no reason. Literally no reason. 20% of my profit margin just gone because my regular customers prefer just to go through Seamless because their credit cards are on there.
Necessarily.
Well, no, because if the guy would be buying it, ordering it otherwise, then they're paying a percentage to Seamless for no reason.
Well, it's not. It's only on top. It's not like
No, it's not an upcharge.
Yeah, it is.
No. There might be a delivery fee on
Right,
Seamless.
that's what I'm saying.
No. Seamless takes 15% of the total profits from the restaurant.
Are you sure?
100% sure.
But
I think it's 15%. Yeah. So like if you order a hamburger from a place, it's a $10.
I don't think Seamless is getting $1.50 out of that $10. I think they're getting $1.50 on top of that $10.
So you think a $10 hamburger, if you're buying it on Seamless, is going to cost $11.50?
Like some service charges, unless
No, I think they also are getting paid out 15% from the restaurant.
Yeah, they definitely get paid by the restaurant.
I'm pretty sure about that, which is such an unbelievable squeeze on the restaurant.
then I don't know.
Great business model. They're a digital mall, and it's basically arbitrage on advertising dollars of being on the front page of Google, and that your business isn't going to be found unless you're listed with them.
Right.
But where you lose is that customers that otherwise had a direct relationship with you will just go through the Seamless platform for no reason.
And on top of that, you can't price your menu differently for Seamless and for other things.
Yeah.
So check this out. Bang. Seamless and services like it, Uber Eats, Caviar, DoorDash, Postmates, etc., make money by charging the restaurant a percentage of the sales price, then adding a separate delivery fee. Seamless.
So they're getting it in two places.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Fucking everybody.
All right, so you want to hear the scam?
Yeah, I want to hear the scam because now you're getting back at these motherfuckers.
I guess not really now.
Oh, okay.
Because I might be screwing the restaurant.
You're squeezing the restaurants even more.
No. So listen.
All right.
So the first part of it is a lot of the times certain restaurants will kind of put on like deals through Grubhub or Seamless only at like specific times a day. Like I know this one place in Stanford between 11:30 and 3:30 they just have like a standard $7 off. And generally it's for like deliveries.
Right.
And they kind of factor in that in, and they also like I think on their Grubhub thing, there's a lot of like catering things. So I think like it's, like if you're ordering thing, it's a nice thing like $7. But the $7 off also works for pickup orders.
Right.
And not only do they have that, they have like a lunch special, 2 slices and a Coke and a soda for $6.25.
So
that's $7
still
off,
applies?
Still applies.
So you're getting paid 75 cents to eat.
No, it's just free. It's
right.
Like they take the $7 off. It's not like they're cutting it back.
They haven't noticed that they're giving you free food.
But the thing is, at the restaurant level, they're not seeing that $7 off. That's through Grubhub.
So Grubhub,
so they're seeing, they're getting paid. They're getting paid the $7, and I'm coming to pick it up, or I'm paying the $6.25.
Yeah.
And it's on their receipt. It's like, okay, this guy's just picking up like that special.
These idiots don't have a minimum spend for the $7 off.
They haven't locked it in yet. And
they're just idiots.
And I'm not doing it like consistently enough that it would be like you're showing up every
bobbing and
single
weaving
day at the same time. And also they have other stuff for $7.50.
What are you gonna do one day if you show up and they literally just trap you? Like there's a guy standing.
This is the guy. This is the guy. Get him.
Yeah.
No. So it's like if as I said, it's targeted for those deliveries where people are like spending like
they don't have a minimum.
Couple $100.
They fucked up
for like getting a couple catering platters and a few pies and some appetizers. Okay, we'll throw $7 off if you're ordering that for in the lunch hours.
Okay.
What
now the
what
funnier
they haven't caught on yet?
Yeah.
Was that it applies for everything?
The funnier one
there were some
was
other little things where like if you see stuff pop up, You know, like you hit it and it's.
I love
it's
how,
great.
you're like a financial trading wizard who's
I get
applied
such a
his
fucking thrill off
knowledge
that.
to finding
Yeah.
mispriced foods on Seamless,
And as I've
where the
said,
deal
some-
pops up and it's like, oh my God,
Get it, buy.
Gold is trading at $10 a dip. We got it. Yeah.
No, that's essentially like
Yeah.
because
You got that eye.
as I've told you, sometimes I'm not even hungry. Sometimes I
You
even
just see
had
it,
something
yeah.
like like it, and it, I'm like, you know what? I have 20 minutes to go drive there. Why the fuck not? Why not? It's free.
Now, tell me about the delivery one, because that's even funnier.
This is the one I told you. This I kind of felt a tiny bit bad. This one was through Uber Eats, and as I was saying, kind of like pinpointing two different things that they're running that actually kind of go in conjunction or are allowable. So one thing Uber Eats does is they'll also have a rotating kind of pop-up thing. It refreshes every 5 minutes. So you have to like kind of jump on it. Or in most restaurants kind of like stay static.
Need that high frequency trading.
But it's essentially, they'll put up at the top, like usually there's a delivery charge, but if there's like a restaurant that like maybe already has like a delivery out and they wanna like get like an extra delivery with one of their guys picking it up in the same area, it will chop off the delivery fee.
Okay.
So like usually it's like $5 delivery fee, but like every 5 minutes it'll kind of refresh the restaurants that are offering.
It's like
free
Uber
delivery.
Share, but for your food.
Exactly.
Okay. Because somebody's already driving the route, so like if you can get this while they're driving the route,
right?
Free delivery.
It's great for the restaurant. It's a win for them.
Yeah.
It's a win for you. It's probably a loss for the driver because
Right.
they have to do two deliveries.
they have to do a second delivery. Yeah.
But then when you could find something and there's generally like not a minimum for
Yeah.
food, Uber Eats also will run sometimes like just
Coupons.
50% off.
Which Uber they must be
across-
paying for that.
No, they're
Yeah.
fronting it. 50% off the order up to $10 or something like that. Or even like, I think there was like one Summer Friday thing. It was like $15 off flat.
Right.
Like if you order up to, it's just free. And if you're getting the free delivery, everything, it just like, when you add it to the thing and it like.
So what are
you
some
kinda, like,
what are some
added-
items that you basically just had brought to your office
There was, like,
completely for free?
Not even to my office, to my home. There was one day I was at home.
And you're just like,
I was, like-
bored. And like, well, what can I
was
just get
like,
for free?
That was exactly
Harrington, are you taking notes on this, by the way?
Yeah, of course, dude. I'm always looking for scams.
There you go.
it. And I'm just going through. I'm like,
We should get them to call in to Realize Podcast on this. Do they do call-ins for that, or people just write them in?
No, but if you write it in, you'll
We'll get a shout out?
Yeah, you'll get a shirt, doggy.
We'll get a shirt. What
I
about
mean-
a shout out? Can we get a podcast plug?
No, so what you could do is,
well, I want the shirt. All right, I want the free shirt, obviously.
I mean, I don't think you're gonna want it when you see it, but
Oh, it says scam that Jew, right?
no, it just says scam that, and then the back is a big nose.
Oh.
Oh, nice.
Pretty
I
funny.
want one of those.
Yeah, he's into it.
That'd
You
be
can
great.
only get that if you win.
Wear that to synagogue.
So if you, just send in some of these scams to realizeofficial@gmail.com and
Well,
just
I don't want.
throw the.
You don't have
I
to
don't
write
want
it
it to
up.
be. No, I don't
You don't
mind
want it to
writing
be
up.
known.
I've already written it up to you in text, so like
You don't
I have
want it.
that.
You don't want it to
I
be
don't
known.
want them to be catch.
You don't
I
want to
want
blow
it
up
to
your
catch
spot.
on. But yeah, I've like gotten just like it's as simple as like an egg and cheese
Right.
sandwich for $5.
Right.
I'm like, okay,
Well, this
everything is covered, and it's just gonna come to my door, and the driver will probably be pissed off, but whatever.
Now, this is the problem with doing podcasts out of order, is that YOSEF just cured depression for us. The answer is finding free food
food.
scams delivered right to your house when you're bored.
Or restaurants that you could literally walk in.
You just
and
get it
get
delivered
free
for
food.
free.
Not
Oh, no,
even-
yeah.
where you
That's even more
literally-
fun, because then
Yeah,
it's almost like
you
robbing
can-
a bank. You're like, are they really going to hand this to me?
And they actually hand it to you,
Yeah.
and with a smile because they're getting paid.
Because they don't even know. Okay.
Yeah.
But now we're
They
going to
don't even know
go.
that it was 0.0.
We're going to go. We got a live pharmacist on the phone to ask
Pharmacist.
all of our medical questions to. Harrington, is he actually there this time? Oh, no, I was going to call him on my phone. Here, I'm gonna pop it up against this mic. Jacob, thank you so much for joining us. This has been a chaotic podcast, and I'm actually not going to edit this one at all. We're going to put it out as is, scatterbrained and everything, warts and all. So, firstly, is pharmacist is kind of a weird gig because when I was a kid, I figured pharmacists were the same as like every other store clerk that you meet. But then you find out later in life that's a damn good job.
It used to be.
Oh, now they fucked you guys? How'd they fuck you?
It just is not what it once was. It used to be a real great job, and the bar to get into the profession was really low. Nowadays, you do have to have, it's a doctorate level program, so you're in just as much student loan debt as the MDs, but you're not quite making MD money, and the work environment has gone downhill like a rocket ship.
Right. Well, that's
fire rolling down a hill.
That's probably you guys.
Sad.
Yeah, you guys have probably been squeezed by the fact that there's no. Like, I even remember as a little kid kind of going to a local pharmacy, and then at some point we ended up at a CVS. So I imagine. I mean, it might. I don't know if it's cheaper for consumers or not. I can't really comment on that. And I would also imagine they're definitely you have less of the personal relationship and service aspect. But I would guess that being at a Walgreens, a CVS, or any of those kind of jams is not the same experience as being at that local kind of high-end pharmacy and, the pay that might come with that gig.
Yeah, they're completely different now. It's a whole different business model because your average independent pharmacy, and I work for one of those as well, is just running a different type of business. They can't compete with Walgreens or CVS. They can't get drugs as cheap as Walgreens or CVS. And the companies that actually own the insurance, the middleman, that company is owned by CVS and Walgreens too, so they're squeezing the reimbursements to all the independents. So if you're running an independent pharmacy, a lot of times on most medicines you can lose money on the prescription, and you're hoping to make it on that person buying something over the counter or some vitamins or something like that. Like, that's why you see so many of the independent pharmacies pushing, nutraceuticals and vitamins and all these supplements, because that's where their real margin in making the money is. And the prescriptions are just to get people in the door.
Wow. At that point, you might as well just get into the gas station game. That's basically that. You lose money on the gas, but you hope people come in and buy a soda.
See, I lean that way anyway, because I'm like, I don't get the point. Like, your little prescription, this piece of paper here, your permission slip is what makes you not a felon, as opposed to getting caught with the drug without the permission slip, like... Yeah, well, make it like the ABC store. As far as I'm concerned, I should be here as an expert. You can ask me questions. Yeah, don't take all that. It'll kill you. Give me your driver's license. Go on. Have a nice day.
Right. So let's get into the weeds on this a little bit, because I was curious, because it did sound like you had some real expertise with this stuff. So basically, I just tweeted out a joke, which was there was an article in the Wall Street Journal about taking the beta blockers and the SRIs, and that they haven't done a lot of studies on the long-term health effects. In my experience with shrinks, there's a couple things. First is they're very anti-smoking weed and drinking alcohol. They're also very quick to kind of diagnose people as being anxious or depressed. They like using this thing called the DSM, which is just this giant handbook of disorders that you could theoretically have. They use these checklists that come from the pharmaceutical companies that are looking to push pills, and every year they try and get it that if you select less things on the checklist, you get diagnosed with the disorders. And it's kind of a racket for moving product. And now what they're finding out is on a lot of these products that they're prescribing to people and that they've been pushing to people and they're keeping people on, not only are there already noticeable health side effects, but they don't even have studies on the long-term health benefits. And so what I joked is, taking this shit, if it's bad for your health, just go back to drinking. It's been around for a long time. It's worked for a lot of people. It's got its ups and downs. But at the end of the day, if you're looking to self-medicate, I guess the idea that these pharmaceutical companies have come up with the better option isn't necessarily true. And now is where you come in, where you can actually, that was just me pulling some bullshit out of my ass, which is all I ever do. And now you're actually here to kind of back up my storyline a little bit with some real hard science.
Yeah, that's a whole lot there, but I do like parts of what you're hitting on. Your whole racket to push a product, that is a big part of it. I like to tell people, look, I have all kinds of drugs behind me, and every single one of these drugs, even the ones I fucking don't like, has a place in therapy somewhere. Now, does that mean that everything that's going out my front door is correct, safe, or even appropriate? That answer is no. And the sad question is, where does that percentage lie? Is it 50-50? Am I doing as much good as I'm doing harm? Or is it worse?
Yeah, and you're also...
I feel it's probably on the worst side.
And you're in a tough place because while people can consult with you and you can give your expertise, you're kind of... like, I'm not going to... People, like, if my doctor gives me a prescription and then I show up and the pharmacist goes, hey, let me make another recommendation, we've kind of all been trained to go with the doctor. So that kind of puts you even in a tough place where you can offer expertise and make a recommendation, but you're almost like the guy at the gym when you see someone with bad form and you're like, am I going to annoy this? Or it's like, you know what I mean? You kind of become the corrective guy.
Yeah, so patient counseling is a big thing of what I do, and you have to pick your spots. You're trying to do the comedian thing. You understand where you can read an audience, you can read a person. So there are people that are more receptive to your help, and there are people that are not. And you just learn to go about it. I mean, I have people that don't trust their doctor at all, and they come to me, or I have personal friends that will call me before they ever take anything their doctor prescribes, just to check it out with me. So it goes both ways. It kind of depends on the person. I will tell you like a sad story. Not a sad story, but so
it's a depressing episode anyway. So
open-ended questions. So like I try and ask you things that you can't answer yes, no.
Okay.
So like I had a young girl come in one time, and the doctor had written her a prescription for a common antidepressant, an SSRI over the counter. And so one of the things I would ask is how did the doctor tell you to take it? That way I know she actually tells me how she's going to take it. And I would ask, what did the doctor tell you, this is being used for? And a lot of these drugs have multiple uses, labeled and off-labeled. And she looked at me and said, it was just great for everything. Like, that has stuck with me in my head for years.
Right. So
that's a good example of the whole racket just to push pills.
The doctor was like, here, take this. It's going to, it's a multivitamin. It's going to help you with everything. So tell us, let's take it one step at a time. So firstly, I guess there's two different categories of things that are, that they'll give you if you have anxiety or if you have, if you're depressed. So it sounds like the SRIs are more meant for depression and the beta blockers are more anxiety, right?
Beta blockers are actually mostly used for heart conditions. They will use them for anxiety or panic attacks because the way they work is by slowing your heart rate down. So if someone's heart starts going tachycardic, their heart is beating too fast, a beta blocker brings that back down. If your heart's not beating as fast, that'll also bring your blood pressure down. So it's mostly used for those types of situations, but you'll see psychiatrists and some doctors use it as for public anxiety and things like that, because by slowing your heart rate down, you kind of fight back against that panic response.
And so what are some of the, maybe you're not allowed to share this with us, but I mean, off the top of my head, I guess, isn't Xanax a beta blocker, or what was the old one? My grandma still has it. Before Xanax was around, there was the, what's the real classic one they used to give old ladies?
Prozac.
No, Prozac's around too, but no, there's...
You're thinking Valium?
Yes, Valium. Valium, dude. Valium's great, man. I once took one with her, and then I was drinking. Oh, Valium's so good.
Yeah, people love that class of drugs. They're kind of like the Quaaludes that, Quaaludes they took off the market, but the benzos are that type of thing. Valium,
you just sold me. I haven't been taking them.
Say again?
I said you just sold me. I haven't really been messing with the benzos ever, but the fact that you just told me that they're similar to Quaaludes, and I just see Wolf of Wall Street playing in my brain, I'm like, give me some of those fucking benzos right now.
Yeah, they're not quite that good, but I would say they are the most commonly abused medication in America when it comes to just people just getting fucked up on them for real reason.
I guess the reason why I've actually, I've said I'm trying to have a long-term relationship with my alcoholism, which is I don't push it too hard. I'm in it for the long run, and I've heard that with the benzos, you get a bit of a problem of blackouts, and I'm not a blackout drinker. I think I've only had maybe one or two experiences ever that I kind of blacked out. And I've heard that once you start blacking out from drinking, it becomes significantly more frequent. That just becomes kind of your brain's natural response to drinking, and it happens sooner. So my concern with parting with that class of drugs is I don't want to teach my brain to black out. I like, why go out and have fun if you're not going to remember it?
This is true. Mixing any of these things, alcohol and the benzos, are both going to be CNS depressants, and they're going to have an additive effect. You can add
once again, you're selling me.
Hydrocodone in there, same thing. So now you're stacking all types of things, and you're having more fun, but you're also increasing the risk of falling over the cliff. The devil is always in the dose. I like to tell people, I was like, look, a case of Natty Light and a bottle of Vicodin will kill you, but a natural light, one beer, and one Vicodin is just a great Kenny Chesney concert.
Absolutely. I'm not a big fan of Vicodin, but Percocet, dude, a Percocet and a beer, go beat that combo. Come back here and find me the better drug combination than a Percocet and a beer. Okay, so tell us. So now that we're in the benzo class, can you tell us some of the what are like the big problems in terms of like if my doctor prescribes me with Xanax? So you're not attached to any pharmacy, but just in terms of your expertise, what's the dangers of taking that, on a daily basis?
The biggest danger is probably the fact that it's so addictive. And you got to realize, I've watched so many people just get themselves hooked, and it's very sad to watch. And I've watched them lose their crap, especially when the doctor cuts them off. It's not a pretty sight, and it always happens at the pharmacy, never at the doctor's office. You know what I mean?
Oh, right. You're there when they still show up, and they're like with the fake piece of paper, like a kid, showing up with the fake note kind of thing, or them just screaming, "Hey, my doctor forgot to send this in, but I need it. I absolutely need it," and you got to cut them off and really deal with that. And that's a really ugly, ugly sight.
It's a very ugly situation, and it could also involve some type of legal liability for that pharmacist,
Yeah.
Now, you can't just, no matter which way you go, that's the sad thing. Like, even if you were worried this guy was going to go into withdrawals and worried for his health, so that's why you gave him some without a prescription, you can get as much trouble for doing that as you did for not giving him something, and then him having an issue, winding up at the hospital, and then suing you for malpractice.
Oh, so how do you guys cover your liability on that? So, like, in other words, if you think a prescription isn't real and a guy shows up and then leaves, and let's just say, let's go with the most theoretical. Guy shows up to pick up an antidepressant or an anxiety medication. You think his prescription's fake, and you go, "Hey, man, I'm really sorry. I need your doctor to call in." Doctor's unavailable. Guy goes to kill himself. Family wants to sue you for not actually giving him his medication. Is that a theoretical thing that you guys would have responsibility for?
Yes.
That's terrible. That is terrifying.
Yeah. Well, and the law changes depending on, if there's a difference between benzodiazepines are controlled substances, so the DEA is involved. The laws for giving them out are different. I would never, if someone came in and they were short on their Prozac or one of these SSRIs or a normal antidepressant, I'm not worried about the liability of giving it to them. I'm more concerned with the liability of not giving it to them.
Right.
But once you get to the controlled substance part, and the DEA will come in and take your damn license for anything they see wrong, at that point, I can't give you anything without a prescription.
Right.
I do have people come in and ask for samples all the time, and I'm.
Samples. Is that a real thing? Hey, I thought maybe I would just do better in life with Prozac. Can I try a couple of those?
Yeah, the doctors sometimes get samples. I mean, that's how this whole thing works. Is the doctors are being sold. They have medications that they stick to. But the thing is, I like to tell people, if you take their prescription pad away, what do they got? I mean, really?
Yeah.
Like, try and go to a doctor's office and just, when he takes out the prescription pad, be like, "Nah, let's something else first. Let's see how long that conversation lasts."
Right.
Because they don't have time to talk to you. And there are good doctors who can actually recommend other things or other types of therapy before moving on to drugs. But 90% of my prescription volume isn't from good doctors.
Right.
It's from
I gotta tell you from every experience I've had with these people in terms of them wanting to make prescriptions, they never once asked me, "Hey, what's your diet and sleep schedule like?" which I bet for 70% of some of these cases, if they heard it, they'd be like, okay, so listen, I need you to start going to sleep at this hour and not eating those foods at this time of the day. After you do that, come back to me in 2 weeks, and if you're still depressed, we can talk about a medication. But they want to write, that's the truth. They want to write you prescriptions. The other thing that which is kind of funny that you're saying with the samples, is that when it comes to, because I've been prescribed the ADD meds, and they have a terrible system because, firstly, you have to go through them in order to get the medication, but it's a guessing game. And their model for trying to figure out which of these chemicals will work best for you is, hey, go take this, and if it's working, let's go with it. And if it's not, come back, see me. I'm going to bill you again, and we can try something else for a couple weeks. And you're like, well, if the model is I take it, and then if it works, you're not really offering me a lot of insight here. You don't really have a very scientific method where it's like you apply it to my blood and you go, hey, this is the match. Your method is I'm going to prescribe it, you're going to go take it, and you're going to let me know how it's working for you. Well, then I could probably cut down 6 months of experimentation if I could get one of each one of these pills and just see what kind of vibes with me best. The answer for me is Dexedrine. If you have some, we can talk later. But I could have avoided taking the Vyvanse and discovering that the slow acting, firstly, does not work for me. It makes me really pissed off. And that also that the I know that there's the 2 salt chemicals that goes, I think it's the D and the I or whatever, and I just like the D. The I fucks me up. It makes me anxious, makes me angry. I want that D salt. That D salt gets me real in the zone. Whereas, help me out with this, because I don't really remember this. You got your methamphetamines and your amphetamines. Your methamphetamines, I think your amphetamines is like your Adderalls. Your methamphetamines is like your Ritalins, right?
So the actual Adderall brand name is what they call a mix of amphetamine salts.
Right.
So it's 2 different kinds in there. Ritalin is called methylphenidate, and a lot of these other brand names are just random derivatives of that.
Right.
And different ways to make them controlled release or enantiomers of one another, which is a whole other level of a chemistry class that
right.
I can get into you with, but that's not something probably you want to go to. So there's just slight differences between them all. Really, just enough for them to get another patent so they can go push another brand name.
That was the big thing with and also sometimes Dexedrine, which they weren't prescribing because it's essentially just speed. They just released a new one, which is the slow release Formulat. Dexedrine you can get for $1 a pill. It's nothing. It's the same with the Adderall. You can get the generic, but then they create the Vyvanse, which is just the slow release of the thing that already exists as the generic. Believe me, your doctor's going to try and prescribe that to you first. I don't really understand the way the kickback model works there, but you're not really getting anything better or that hasn't been around for a while. They just want something with a patent so there isn't a generic.
That's how they market it all. And a lot of times these companies manipulate those patents just to try and extend the life. Ambien's a good example. Back when it was brand name, Ambien made a ton of money getting everybody hooked on Ambien.
Dude,
No
Ambien
drug in the pharmacy has caused me more grief than motherfuckers hooked on Ambien. So, and what they basically did was they ran that patent out. So as soon as it came time where you could make a generic Ambien, then the company came out and said, oh, wait, we've got Ambien CR, controlled release. And, they would do these bullshit studies showing really, they're just fudging numbers to get some type of statistical significance that they can stow up at a dinner to try and convince these guys to switch everyone over to the CR from their regular. And that's how they keep their patent life, try and extend it.
All right.
And they give them coupons and samples or whatever, and they try and switch everybody over. And that way, even though there is a generic, all the new scripts that are coming out are written for the CR, and you're stuck paying the brand name.
So let's just get back to the topic here. So what we've seen as being the worst of the benzos is just that you see that there's a real physical addiction. In terms of just from health or other standpoints, other than the just being, people being dependent and addicted to it, do you find people function worse over time if they're taking it and that they're just addicted to it, or are there actually health ramifications from taking that shit for a long time?
There's definitely some health ramifications for taking it for a long time, and even just taking it at all, you're lowering your seizure threshold. There's a variety of things that are going on there. Now, if you need a Xanax every once in a while, or an Ativan, lorazepam, these are the same drugs in the same class with slightly different half-lives, how long they hang around, that kind of a thing. The occasional use, I'm fine with. That's exactly what they're there for. If you have a panic attack and you need to take one, it's cool. It's the same reason I'm actually cool with cigarettes. They have a fucking purpose. People use them, and they work. Like, I don't want people to go smoke cigarettes, but you know what? I've been driving 12 hours to Florida, and that's the time in my life where I was like, now is the time to smoke a cigarette, because the benefits of staying awake definitely outweigh the risk of this one cigarette.
Yeah. No, I get that. I smoke about a pack of cigarettes a year, and I'm very fortunate that I can enjoy. Like, believe me, I got an addictive personality, and there's some shit that will ruin me with one bite. Mostly just cake. It's just mostly cake and booze. But anyways, so
sugar is the most addictive substance on the planet.
Yeah.
Nobody realizes it because you can get your fix everywhere.
Yeah, sugar fucks me up more than anything. Really, it's the hardest and the worst. Okay, so now we've explored the benzos. Give us the short story on the SRIs, and then we'll let you go.
All right, so the SSRIs, there's a couple different ones. Prozac's probably the most common. Zoloft, another one of these brand names. They all work by being serotonin selective reuptake inhibitors. So in your brain, you have a bunch of neurotransmitters flying around. And these neurotransmitters come out, do their thing, and then they get sucked back into the cell. These reuptake inhibitors basically
keep them out.
They put a little plug there so they don't get sucked back into the cell. They stay out there in what's called the synaptic connection in between, and the theory is they're increasing the amount of that receptor there, and they think that having that depleted is what causes depression. Now, you touched on it earlier that they really don't know. That's the real dirty secret here. Is brain chemistry is ridiculously complex, and to think that just plugging this one hole is solving our problems is very irresponsible. And you see it. Based on, to me, I think we're performing a grand experiment. We give all these kids, we over-medicate the hell out of them, and you watch how it plays out across the country. We are performing the experiment whether we like it or not, and we dispense more of these medications than ever before, and depression's still here.
Yeah.
It's no better. The rates of depression haven't gotten any better.
And I haven't looked at the numbers on this, but I know for a fact that a lot of lobbying goes into the manual, the DSIM, and labeling more things as being diseases and lowering those checklist thresholds. I don't know. I don't even know where I was going with this thought, but the point is...
healthcare evolves from billing. All this crap evolves from billing.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a number you can put beside to bill for it, the insurance company's not going to pay for it, and it's never going to go anywhere.
Right.
I mean, that's why I do tell people we need to scrap the entire system, because it's been going on for 40 years before I was even born, this gross perversion that has just grown and grown and grown.
But the point is, people are selling you, they're pushing a product, and they're the biggest players in the game, so we do know that there's a pharmaceutical lobby, and that if you really explore, the inner workings of it, I mean, you look at what's going on right now with the painkillers. That company's Purdue or whatever the fuck it is, that family's finally in trouble because he actually had enough public backlash that the senators have turned on them, and their feet's being held to the fire. But that's not new information. If you just read the news, you know what I mean? You're the expert here.
I am about as anti-opiate as anyone because they are overprescribed. The big issue is the worst doctors are writing more prescriptions for them than ever. But this pushback has actually gone too far at this point.
Oh, I agree, 100%.
Do these companies probably owe some liability for the way that they marketed these things? Sure, but I don't think that marketing is any worse than any of the other marketing that's out there now. They should not be allowed to do direct-to-consumer advertising. It's protected under free speech in this country, but it's only us in New Zealand that allow that shit to happen. Nowhere else allows the drug companies to have these commercials on TV, making you look happy and then telling you about all the stuff that's going to fall out of your butt. It's just preposterous. So that is one of the things that needs to go. Definitely.
Right. So firstly, I agree with you. The pushback's been too dramatic because recently I had a tooth pulled. I couldn't even get some Percocet, and it's like that was supposed to be the gift. You went to see the doctor. They did something shitty. I can get ice cream any day of the week. So it's like you give me pills for 7 days so I can at least get some fun out of this. And I go, okay, it was okay to go to the dentist. But the point that I was trying to make is that it's clear that there's a profit model and a lobby behind getting doctors to overprescribe pills and have politicians look the other way. So to think that that model only existed with the painkillers and couldn't possibly exist in things like the SRIs or the other things that we're talking about clearly isn't accurate. All right, so
same model applies there. And I would say what's actually the most fascinating about it, you should take a minute to look into it, is that the most of the money isn't coming like, where's all this money? We both agree a crap load of unnecessary money is flowing into the system. Where's it all going? Like, it's not necessarily going to the pharmacy. It's not necessarily going to the person who's making the drug. To be honest with you, most of that money is getting sucked up in the middle between middlemen and the insurance companies,
sales dudes
called pharmacy benefit managers. As a matter of fact, the pharmacy benefit managers were doing such a good job taking advantage of the system that CVS and Walgreens bought them because they had no choice.
I love it.
Buy them while they still could. And to this day, if you go back, you can read it. I was reading a Wall Street Journal article because CVS is right now, big lawsuit with Amazon because Amazon's trying to get into the pharmacy market, and CVS is like, fuck you, because they'll be your next biggest competitor. So they're pinching all of CVS's top-level people, and CVS recently sued them to block those hirings. But one of the interesting nuggets that came out was that CVS Caremark was the PBM. CVS bought Caremark back when they still could. And nowadays, CVS is like 1% of the S&P 500. They're fucking massive. They have more cash registers next to human beings with wallets than any other company in America. And yet, 60% of their revenue doesn't come from the stores selling overpriced crap. 60% of their revenue comes from the PBM side. Just the manipulation of the price in the middle.
The spread.
The spread, capturing spread, man.
That's what it's all
right,
about.
well, you convinced me of a couple things here. Firstly is you can take these things on occasion. Taking Valium and drinking is almost as good as a Quaalude. And if I can capture a spread in the pharmacy market, I can actually start making a real income. So before I let you go, I do have some other people. Any questions you got for the pharmacist?
Yeah, I had one question.
That's YOSEF, by the way. He's back after a hiatus.
So I think Robbie brought it up about the samples. A lot of those antidepressants doesn't it take like a certain amount of time for like the cycle to kind of
that's just because they want to get you addicted. That's the shit they tell you is like, listen, you got to make a full like that. All right, I'm gonna go off on this because they do the same exact fucking bullshit with the ADD pills.
Hold on,
where they
wait,
go, you have to make
the
a
question was
lifestyle.
for the
Well, let me
pharmacist.
comment. Let me editorialize. Let me run my mouth a little bit. They did the same thing with the ADD pills where they go, hey, I need you to actually make a lifestyle adjustment here. They want full devotion. They want for 2 weeks for you to take this every day. Let me tell you, ADD pills can be very helpful. I think, if anything, maybe taking them once or twice a week and like putting all the tasks that you really can't do unless you're on them might be helpful. Taking that shit every day will make you, like, for me, and I definitely have ADD, made me unbelievably fucking angry. Like, I'm just telling you, you need to take a couple days off from the Adderalls, which they told me the same thing. You got to be on this all the time to make the adjustment and figure out, like, if this is like a lifestyle change for you. You need to take some days off of that shit so that at least your brain can kind of reset itself. And I'm willing to bet we can hear from him. I hope he says I'm 100% wrong. I bet it's the same exact thing, like, because that's what they say. It takes 2 weeks for this to really get into your system. I'm guessing that like they just want you fucking hooked.
Okay, for the Adderall, the Vyvanse, the Ritalin, the methamphetamines, Robbie, what you're saying, I'm kind of on board with. I think these things should be used as needed. If you need them, great, and if not, then don't take them. Knock all your stuff out, clean your whole house, whatever it may be.
Yeah, specific tasks.
However, for the other medications like antidepressants and the SSRIs, the data really would indicate that if you're going to fuck with the brain chemistry, you need to give it a good long while, like 2 to 3 months.
Oh,
and the most dangerous, I think the most dangerous time for a person that's on these medications is when they are starting and when they are stopping. And so if you're taking your Prozac, a couple on Tuesday, not taking any more, and then popping 3 or 4 on Friday, like, I think you're really putting yourself at risk for some of the worst side effects. And they have a big black box warning on these things that says, hey, you might think about killing yourself.
All right.
Those shouldn't be on like an ad hoc basis. Like, it shouldn't be like whatever your prescription is. You're saying like, oh, you pop 5, like, it shouldn't be like you should be taking the same thing every day.
As far as antidepressants, if you're going to take one, I would recommend you take it as prescribed, probably every day, and you need to give it at least 2 to 3 months.
Jesus.
And when you stop taking it, if you do, I would want you to taper off, because like I said, that most dangerous, think about the brain chemistry, all right? You're making big changes to your brain chemistry when you start taking these medications. And what's going to happen? Your body's going to start to fight. You fight back. You take a drug, you wind up growing resistant to it, right? You can drink more beer today than you did when you were 18. Tolerance with alcohol is very common. It happens with every drug in the world. It doesn't just happen with alcohol. And so when you're messing with the brain chemistry like that and you're just going up and down with medicine, that's not good. So consistency is key with these things. And like, while I do say they're overprescribed, like I said, there is a time and a place for everything. And the pharmacy, like, look, if you're thinking of killing yourself, if you're that depressed, hey, medicine might help you. But you got to give it its good, honest shot. Now, do I think the medicine is going to help more people than getting your ass in the gym and lifting some weights and working out and changing your diet and affecting these lifestyle changes? No, I think that's better. But drugs do have a place in therapy, and the reason doctors don't try any of that other shit is because they know most people won't ever do it.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate some actual insight in what's otherwise an episode of complete total chaos and nonsense. So thanks for hitting me up on Twitter. Thanks for actually taking the time to call into us, and have a good one, dude.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it, and thanks for the show. Enjoy the free entertainment.
All right. Fuck yeah. Catch you later, dude.
Later, bro.
Okay. So in what's been a completely chaos and out of order episode.
Where's that guy from? Doesn't matter.
I don't even want to give away his state. Let people be as anonymous as possible. Well,
It's not like you're giving his address.
I don't actually know
Whatever,
what state
that's
he's from.
fine.
But I think he's serving up the same drugs in his state as we are in ours. So I don't think his information's less valuable if he was from a place called Virginia or something.
What's wrong with Virginia? What's
I
wrong
like
with
Virginia.
Iowa? What's wrong
I
with
like all
Wyoming?
these places.
I was just curious. Jesus.
Okay. Well, why were you so curious?
I'd like to know where these...
Just to get a little context for the accent.
whole
yeah.
world.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's great, that this guy is...
We interact with people from everywhere.
Oh, it was more that we reach.
Yeah, no, I'm saying
yeah.
I agree with you. We should have asked where he was from. Reasonable
Whatever.
question.
Yeah, I don't need
Listen, like I said earlier, I'm willing to admit when I was wrong.
Oh, you've
I'm
turned
a
over
big man. No,
new leaf.
No, sometimes I need to research things like the fact that potato rolls came in big sizes and they no longer do. And other times I can admit, I was wrong. And this is one of the times where I was wrong.
Okay. So 0 for 2 on those 2 points that you brought up.
So I was giving a couple of my breakdowns for what I like my way of seeing some of these medical conditions. And so I gave my breakdown of depression, which I think is your body's pain mechanism for giving up. I said anxiety is kind of a panic in your brain when you don't see a path to victory. Now, OCD to me, sometimes you have OCD in thinking, which is not as I repeat my words, which is hilarious. Not what I'm describing here. But I've experienced OCD where you transfer your anxiety for things that you don't have a lot of control over to things that you do have control over. So you're really you're extremely anxious about showing up late to work and what's going to go on for the day. So you decide to check your door more times than you otherwise will. Now, your door has no impact on any of that. You're just trying to find a physical place to place your anxiety because you don't really know how to process it. Where I noticed that the most was when I had a job restocking vending machines. I just had a lot of days where literally I got in, at 3 a.m, had to be up at 7, and then I'm in the van all day, and then I just end up eating the junk food that was in the van to get into the city to drink it, and I became very anxious because I understood how unhealthy my lifestyle was. Even though I was young and I could get away with it, believe me, when I was starving for lunch and then I ate whatever bullshit was in the back and I realized I hadn't eaten a single real meal in 2 days, you get terrible because you just kind of know, oh my God, I'm killing myself and this lifestyle doesn't make any sense. And I'm telling you, within 2 minutes of having horrible anxiety about, hey, I'm going to die because I'm mistreating my body, I would start panicking that the van doors were going to open up. And I'd be like, I have to pull over the van and check the van doors. Oh. And then I realized, I just mentally realized I'm transferring my anxiety because I don't want to solve the fact that I'm not
about
preparing.
Control, right?
Yeah. Now, here's the next one. Panic attacks. Have you ever experienced a panic attack?
Loosely. Nothing I don't think anything major.
I've experienced 2 versions of panic attack. I've experienced one real major panic attack, which this is a fun one. You'll enjoy this story.
Yeah.
Yeah. at some point I decided I was no longer, I was done with college. Like I failed an entire semester of classes. I stopped showing up. I was doing open mic, and I decided college is not for me. I'm done with this bullshit. And then I finally got to, and I was leaving my parents' every house, like kind of showing up to the school for no reason, not really going to the classes, going to open mic. I was a mess of a human being. We all have our better and worse moments. Anyways, during that school break, I remember one night, because I used to do a lot of open mics on 3rd Avenue, and I really thought, just to let you know how all in it mentally I was in comedy, I remember one night I experimented with sleeping in a car to see if that was a lifestyle I could see myself living. I was so all in with comedy. I had one night that I reserved in my head. I was like, let's see. Maybe it's not a big deal.
This a go.
Let's give it a go. And I learned right away. I was like, well, that's not going to work for me. I remember I woke up at one point. I had to pee, and you're like, well, where do you go to pee? And then at other points, I woke up because people were walking by the car. I was like, okay, that's not going to work. And then I had another night where I was going to an open mic, and I'm all excited because I'm like, oh man, I'm doing this thing. And then I was like, wait, I've been doing this for like a couple of years now, and I've never made a single dollar doing this. What exactly is the path forward here? And then when it came to the end of the school break, I was like, you know what? I better go finish that school thing. I mean, so I literally had a whole semester where I decided, hey, I'm not doing this anymore. Failed all the classes.
It's more like a global panic attack.
Then a winter. Like no.
Oh,
wait till this specific moment. So I show up to register for classes. I wait in like There was a faulty error in my account where at some point they had overcharged me in tuition and they refunded me what they had overcharged me, but they accidentally put it into my account as money that I owed them. An error. Errors happen. I waited in on the day of registration. I don't want to lose your focus now. Here's where the story gets really good. I wait in an hour-long line because it's like the first day of class kind of thing, so it's that day of registration madhouse. You went to Yeshiva University, I went to also.
We're not going to tell this guy's state, but we'll give my...
No, I went to that place also. It was not the same vibe as like a larger public college. I went to Queens College. I'm telling you, like, I think it's the registrar's office, wherever it was. You had to show up to a place to sometimes manually have them change classes or actually pay your bills so that they would activate your account kind of thing. So I wait in this line, and I think it's the day of classes, and I finally see the one guy there, and he's got a yarmulke on, and he's just a panicky dude, and he goes, listen, there's too much of a line behind you. I acknowledge that there's an error in the system. I can't take care of this right now. And I said, well, that's not really fair because I need this taken care of. It's your error. It's not my error. I waited in the entire line. It's now my turn, so it's now your turn to help me out. And he goes, well, I can't because it's going to take me too much time. There's too much line here. I go, well, how do I get in touch with you to make sure it gets done? He goes, well, I'm going to take care of it after this whole I was like, well, then what do I do if it's not done? He goes, I will absolutely take care of it tonight. Anyway, he doesn't take care of it. And then when it's time for me to sit down and register for the classes, everything I need to take is now no longer available. I'm telling you, I had the sensation of I've never been so mad in my life. I walked right to a gas station. I chugged 2 beers, and
I thought you were going to say you chugged the gas.
No, I chugged 2 beers, and I chewed on an entire pack of gum, and I kind of like started to like settle down. But I'm telling you, that was like literally so mad. I heard just ringing in my ears, my heart pumping at and I was just like, I thought I was going to die, and I chugged. But anyway, that was a true panic attack. Mm-hmm. I think that that's now I've had lesser panic attacks, and I developed a very good tool for avoiding them that I want to share with people because I think it might be helpful. I got a really good trick for panic attacks.
Wow.
So that was like a true panic attack. That was like a true panic attack. I've had lesser panic attacks, which is when your brain spirals to a point that you can't even function because you're just swirling in negative thoughts about things that things that are wrong with your life. And it gets to the point where it's like they usually they don't last very long, but it's like there's a stretch of time where you're just completely miserable and just swirling around in your brain with problems that you're facing. And here's how I finally figured out how to avoid that, because I used to get them at work at my last job, and the reason they used to hit was that job wasn't really suiting what I was looking to do with my life, because it turned into I took.
You got too good at it.
Well, that wasn't the only issue. Part of the issue was I took that job to move to the city and do stand-up, and then one of the clubs I was working that was supposed to put me up like at 8 p.m. that didn't work out, and then it got to a point where I was just not doing stand-up because I just had this full-time job, and I lost some of my other contacts, and I was like, okay, we got to change this up because this is not what I'm looking to do with my life. But sometimes I'd show up and I'd be like, dude, you haven't done stand-up all week. And then, like, it would just kind of spiral out of control. So what I learned is it's kind of like if your brain's like a conference room. I've learned this with like, stand-up. You got to control the room. If a guy stands up and he heckles you, you got to shut him down right away. If you don't shut him down right away, you can lose the entire room. So I view it like my room. It's almost like I'm running like a town hall meeting. And I go, okay, guys, today we need more sales at this department. So here's what we're going to do. We're working in a sales office. And then someone in the back row goes, yeah, but you got yellow teeth and you haven't dated for a while and you haven't done this. It's like if you start letting those thoughts come in, you lose control of the room, where it's like 100 voices go up like, we can't even trust this guy. This guy's a piece of shit. Hey, this guy hasn't done this in 4 years. Hey, this guy was eating out on it. This guy drink. And it's like you lose the room. So what you got to do is just shut down the first thought. It's like literally you're running a board meeting. The first guy goes, hey, you haven't gotten laid in 2 months. You got to be like, dude, I'm at work and I'm like trying to get this project done. Like, you got to, like, right away, the first time that thought comes in, you got to be like, hey, I'm doing a task right now. What you're doing doesn't help me accomplish this task. So, like, you can bring that up later. We're at a board meeting right now. Mm-hmm. And then I filtered from that. Like, I came up with another trick just because, like, your brain can't do two things at the same time. So you should just do, like, this mental exercise where this is going to sound like completely insane, but I think what I've already described is insane to you. No, this one worked.
No, the first one, it sounds
reasonable.
Sounds reasonable because, like, everyone goes through that. Even if you're not having a panic attack per se, like, you have those thoughts of, like, oh, like, you know, like, getting inside your own head like, too much, like, and that's a way to bring it down. But but let's hear about these. I used to
do this one. So I mean, this one's gonna sound. My brain's kind of visual, and I think I got a decent imagination. But I visualize an open door, and then I'd start having fun with it. I'd close the door on the negative thought. Then I would barricade it with like wooden boards, cartoon style. I'd see the hammers going into like the boards. Then I'd fire a cannon at it. Then whatever. But by then it like kind of just passed. But it was like just a distraction technique, because your brain you can't really focus on two things at the same time. Mm-hmm. So I would like mentally focus very hard on like visualizing, you know,
specifically a
cartoonish. No, it would usually start with the door, kind of open up my imagination, but I get cartoonish with it. Run it over with the tank, whatever you want to see in your mind's eye. I'm not judging your imagination.
Oh, I'm not good at that shit. Like,
yeah,
I don't have that type of creativity. Like, I can't, like, I guess, like, my mind wanders, but, like, I can't, like, block shit out with other stuff.
Oh, I can
in that manner that
I can get fucking lost in my goddamn brain.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. All right. So now the last thing, I want a food topic for you. Ooh. Oh, I think you're gonna love this, but I think I gotta have a formal breakup with dairy. We've been separated for a little bit. You know, this hit me hard. I mean, I've been together with cheese for a long time. I've been loving my cheese, but a while ago I noticed that I had to. I used to eat sliced pizza every day for lunch. That was my lunch. I was realizing cheese was making me dairy was making me really nauseous, to the point that if I was eating it, I wasn't like it was not like diarrhea, nothing like that. It would literally make me nauseous. It took me a while to figure out that it was dairy that was fucking me up, and then
like where you would like gag.
No, it was
or like just like queasy.
Not even. It was like I can't really describe it as being a headache, and it wasn't like nausea where I'd feel like gagging or I was going to throw up, but it was like a seasicky, punch drunk kind of feeling.
While you were eating it, or
it was
like
almost
post?
No. It would kick in like a couple hours after eating it, and it was almost like not that the world would be spinning kind of thing, but kind of
like, you know,
hard to describe. But just I'm gonna like a light nauseous feeling, and then I ended up drinking earlier in the day because that kind of like killed it. But I learned over time, if basically more than a cup of dairy in a day will do that to me. But then I was like, I'd be cheating with that system, because every once in a while I test it. I'd be like, nah, I don't really think I'm a person that can't eat dairy. That's bullshit. No. Like, fuck that. I'm not one of these pussies. And especially late at night, I'd be like, well, I'm going to sleep anyway, so like whatever.
What's going to happen?
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, when you go to sleep, it kind of like turns off that switch.
I don't know what it is, but it's like I'm going to sleep. So if I'm nauseous while I'm asleep, fuck it. I'll eat.
It doesn't. Like,
I'll eat a big steak sandwich with cheese on it or whatever the hell. I wouldn't do that.
You might wake up like, you know.
I've never had that where I woke up, but I'm
saying when you wake up in the morning, I'm saying like you could feel like shit then, but like
right. But then
that time, like
I tried cutting back on that a little bit, because I just realized like, wait, if this is making me nauseous during the day, like I can only imagine the bodily inflammation that's kind of existing that I'm like eating something that clearly makes me sick before I go to sleep just because I'm going to sleep at like that seems a little bit ridiculous.
I'm fine with that.
I've been doing a lot. I had a really bad experience this past Sunday. Really, really bad. I went to Trader Joe's. I love Trader Joe's. I don't know your feeling on Trader Joe's.
I love Trader Joe's.
I'm all for Trader. You know
Nothing
what?
wrong.
Best part about Trader Joe's, they lie to you about things being healthy. I love being lied to about things being
that's
healthy.
your favorite shit.
That's my favorite thing. Also,
You're like a fake, like
I love it.
You-
it's my favorite thing.
you
Tell me a cake
love-
has protein in it.
Yeah.
I'll eat so much of that cake and I won't feel bad about it.
Yeah.
I love it. Also, you never have to double check their pricing. You know, if it's a Trader Joe's, you're getting
can't
a
be
good
more
price.
than $5.
It's not that it can't be more, whatever it is, like I don't have to weigh it against the, if I buy bran flakes at Trader Joe's, I know I'm getting a higher quality bran flake than anywhere else at a better price. I don't need to go on Amazon. I don't need to research other bran flakes. I know that my Trader Joe's, or like I use even a face wash from them. I use a face moisturizer. I've been moisturizing my face. I do that.
Wow,
I'm going.
We've really been apart for a long time.
So, anyways, I don't have to compare the quality of this facial moisturizer to that would be taking it too far. But you get what I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
kind of my OCD. Is I want to weigh my options. I want to know that I'm getting the best. I want to know that I'm getting the best price.
Well, that's
I'm
why,
still Jewish at heart.
That's why I spend like 2 hours at
On
Stop and
coupons.
Shop. No,
Oh.
I'm saying like when I go like grocery shopping, like
It takes forever. I know it's
it takes
exhausting.
forever.
I have that
because
problem 'cause
I'm
I'm-
always like I'm looking. I'm like, okay, like
Apples. I
I
waste
know
so much time
this,
in the
like-
apples, like trying to find the perfect one. It drives me nuts. I hate shopping for that
and
reason.
then like Hillary, like my wife, like
Just gets it done.
she'll be back in like 20 minutes.
I've
I was
had-
like, and like she'll
Yeah.
have like a complete thing. Like, how do you do?
I've had that moment with my
wanna,
with my
like-
mom where she's like, "Can you like I'm in the mart? Can you grab a bag of grapes?" And I'm like,
10 minutes.
I'm like, I need you to do. She's like, just. I'm like, if I get started, I gotta get the best bag here, and I'm gonna be distracted. I mean, I'm gonna get like it's gonna
And you might-
exhaust me.
It might not even exist. The bag of grapes.
Yeah,
that-
and so it's
that-
like, can
yeah.
you just? I have that problem in life in general that if I turn my focus to something, I like really turn my. So it's like I really try not to turn my focus to things that have no. Okay. Anyways, back to we were talking about Trader Joe's.
Oh yeah.
So I'm in Trader Joe's. I was in Stanford. I still got the car. Haven't crashed it yet. And I was like, this is
Well
amazing.
done.
I can actually go to Trader Joe's.
I've
load
gotten
up.
into more accidents than you. I
How
guess
many
that
fender
means-
benders?
No, I'll tell you about the accident because it was a weird
Yeah.
type of accident. Continue on Trader Joe's.
Oh, okay. So I saw it. I was hungry as all hell. We were gonna barbecue, so I wasn't really eating that day. I mean, I ate like some, but like I really didn't eat much all day, and I went for a run. I was just really fucking hungry because I was trying to pace out like good appetite for dinner
Oh,
kind of thing. I'm not good at that.
It's a special skill because you don't want to go into like a big feast of
Yeah.
a barbecue without eating anything during the day.
Yeah.
But you want to be eating like the right kind of things over the
Yes.
course of the day so that like you're full enough, but like you're not like bloated. Yeah, I get that.
I made the blunder of blunders here. Okay, so I buy.
I'm actually really good
Yeah.
at that. Like when I know that
Oh, you're
there's like
good at- yeah.
when I know there's like a big dinner or like a big like event or like that's the only time I know how to eat. That's the only time I know how to eat in the morning and afternoon because if I don't anticipate anything big at dinner like then I won't be thinking about what I
Right.
mean. So, yeah.
So I purchased a whole bunch of. I got some nuts. I got some protein bars. I got all sorts of good stuff.
What dairy did you get?
I'll tell you. I saw
Goat cheese.
No, I didn't get goat cheese. I saw I love a cream filled cookie, and I saw like this oat or something like an oat on the outside, yogurt filled cookie, and I'm like, oh my god, it's like a healthy cream filled cookie. I'm all about this. This is gonna be great. I'm not gonna eat that many of that.
Like
Like
a
I'm
big-
starving. No, it was like a box that probably had like 12 in them. You know, like prepackaged. Okay, so I open it up. And I ate two, or maybe I probably ate three in the parking lot, like right then and there, because I was just really excited. Like, oh my god,
Is
they
it like
lied to
the
me.
Little Debbie oatmeal cream pies?
Yes, but yogurt filled, supposedly healthy, quote unquote healthy.
It's really just the cream.
So I
shit
take
cream.
I take a bite, and it's both like delicious and very sour. And I'm like, well, the sour's. Oh, I was like, oh, that's like the yogurt thing.
Oh no. Okay.
Okay,
Continue.
here's where it takes a turn. So I was fine. Then when I go to unpack my car later at night, I'm
Grab
like,
a couple more.
I'm like, those cookies are there. And I'm like, dude, you're not even hungry. I'm like, yeah, but they're fucking there. I'm going to eat them. And I ate two more. And I'm telling you, I guess it was in part I went over my dairy threshold for the day. And also that those cookies, I think those cookies were bad. Listen, I might have eaten bad chicken. That might have been what happened. I went back to my apartment, and like I was feeling like aggressive. It was like that usual nausea thing, but like way more. I hadn't drinking in actually a full 6 weeks, and I was like, I can't handle this nausea, so I started drinking. I had myself a little Jack to just try and calm the nausea, which worked enough that I went to bed. I woke up. This is about to take a turn for the worse. I woke up. I can't even tell you how sick I felt, and I was like, please let this be diarrhea. Please let this be diarrhea. I get in the toilet, start stewing it up, and while I'm making diarrhea, projectiled into the garbage. Dude, fucking not filled this garbage, but it's horrific, right? Now, this is a terrible thing about New York City. You can't just throw away garbage here.
Don't you have a garbage chute?
No, I don't have a garbage chute. The garbage sits in the bottom of my building, and it just sits there. So I triple wrap this thing in a garbage bag, and then I basically have to sneak outside my building and find someone else's garbage pile to put it in, because I don't even know how it works with the garbage people checking to see what is and isn't recyclables, and now I'm throwing away a plastic garbage, and I think hilarious. I hope some fucking inspector came around going, did someone throw a plastic here? Open it up and fucking take a whiff of... Anyways, I go back to bed, and I drink a whole lot of water before I go back to bed, because I was like, oh, great, I got that out. Let me rehydrate. Totally
throw
drink
up the water.
I wake back up 2 hours later, projectile vomit, all this
water,
like 2 bottles of water, and then I was sick for literally an entire day. The next day, I think I didn't throw up anymore, but it was like diarrhea. I was fucking sick, dude. And now I'm just like, I don't think I could be risking this. Like, I think this late night dairy game, I think I just gotta lay off for a little bit.
That just sounds.
You think it's just bad cookies?
You need to cut it out. Yeah, it sounds like it was bad cookies.
It's just bad cookies.
Yeah.
All right, let's go eat a slice of pizza.
Going. Yeah, exactly.
All right, dude.
I'm Felicia.
You are? All right. Well, I'm gonna eat the meatloaf, and then we'll go out for par of cookies or something. Mr. Harrington.
I agree with you.
Excellent. that's all. You hit your cue right. All right. I think we're about ready to call an episode. We did it. You know, it was like a warm up round. We're coming off the summer porch tour, very successful summer porch tour. And we did tell people not to listen to this episode, so you know it had its moments. It was fun,
but they don't listen to us.
They don't listen to us,
so they're probably gonna listen.
They're probably still with us right now. How long? What are we? 2 hours in?
2.5.
That's pretty solid. Okay.
This is so long.
Before we call it, do you have any closing remarks? Anything you want to add? You haven't spoken in a while. You've been sitting there.
Yeah, I've been getting stuff done. I've been doing 2 things at once, listening to your conversation and doing this. So I disproved you the whole time, but I wasn't here to argue with you.
Mike, you want a meatloaf sandwich?
Yeah, you're gonna eat meatloaf sandwiches with me, right?
Was it made in a crock pot?
Hell yeah.
Sure
Then you know I'm gonna eat it.
All right. Any closing remarks, questions, comments, concerns, things to plug?
Yeah, I mean, my 1-year anniversary show for Anxiety Attack, September 19th. If you are in the New York area, please stop by. All right, I'll make a deal. If 2 people, just 2 people, come up to me with the promo code RunYourMouth, Rob will do a 5-minute guest spot.
There you go.
Is that fair?
I love it, buddy. I mean, a paid spot would be nicer, or just getting booked would be cooler. But I love it.
I don't have any more room for paid spots.
It's all good. I have fun every time I got up, and last time I fucking murdered, dude. It was good.
You fucking crush every time. That's why I love having you.
Yussel.
Yep.
Any closing remarks?
I hope that I'm back again.
Amen. May the Lord be with us. And that's it. Run your mouth. Thanks everybody. Cheers.